break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Opinions of the Uninformed podcast. This week we will be covering the horrible term that is toxicity within all forms of media. Now, I don't know if you're a gamer, if you're into social media, or if you're into one of those things. At some point, you may have run into toxicity. So, before we get on to the subject, I should probably introduce everyone. I am Jay, Firefly Zero. You can find me on Twitch and all that other jazz. I'm, of course, joined by my usual co-hosts. Well, of course, we've got Rich over here, Live Convoy.
Howdy.
And we've got TJ over there. How you doing, TJ?
Evening. Good, thank you.
Good. Right, so how's your week's been, boys? We'll probably cover up how everyone's been getting on. I'll just cover my story quickly before I throw it out to you lot. I've had a pretty good bank holiday. I didn't do loads, if I'm honest. Me and TJ did Cabin in the Woods. Do go and check that out, like and subscribe and all that jazz.
Great film.
It is.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah. I'll be honest, not to blow mine and TJ's own horn, we were terrible, but we had a good time. So
no change there, man. No change there. On brand.
Yeah, so obviously we mocked the young. We were trying to work out, Rich. I don't know if you know any more about this, being that you're Marvel background, but obviously Thor himself is in that film. Now he doesn't look Thor-esque. We were saying, but those
Thor,
films.
It's his brother.
No, it is. No, it's Chris. It's Chris, yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And what did we work out?
So they were both.
Thor came out at the same time.
Well, on IMDb, in the order that they come, they're both out in 2011, but Thor came before Cabin in the Woods. But I would have said that he looks like he was.
You know, he doesn't look like he's had the Marvel super serum.
Yeah. So I was questioning whether or not, like, because there's all post-production, there's like release dates and stuff, isn't there? Because, you know, companies fight over who can get their film released when and whatnot and everything else. And I have heard in the past that movie companies pay off other movie companies to hold back a film so they can get their film out first. So it's just whether or not like,
because he didn't look super Thor.
Yeah, no. I think despite that, I think his sections would probably have been filmed first. Because there's no way, like, once he's locked in the Marvel contract, he's just stayed hench, hasn't he?
He actually done in a 2-year period quite a few films, didn't we? We went through. There was like there was like 5 films in a 2-year span, which included like Thor, Thor 2, the first Avengers movie, Cabin in the Woods, and something else.
So I'd have presumed they'd done
Red Dawn.
Yeah, I'd have presumed they'd have done his stuff, because then there's like his stuff you get out of the way quite quickly as well, don't you? And then there's also the alternative narrative, and there's a lot of post-production needed doing in that film. Yeah. So yeah, it probably wouldn't have surprised me while that film was in post, he started training for Thor.
I mean, he basically had the opening scene. He's a bit of a drunk arsehole.
It was little like couple of minute scenes, wasn't it? As it flitted until his Evel Knievel moment.
That splats like a fucking
jokes.
Brown bread.
Yeah.
How he falls connected to it the entire time. Just always.
Yeah.
It's like remember them guys with the rubber, like the sticky hands and the sticky legs.
You stick on the window. Yeah.
That's how he fell to his death. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And you get moaned out by your parents because you've left these greasy stain marks on your wall where you've tried to do it on the wall. It's like, why is this shit left on the wall?
Yeah.
It's when it's got when it's falling on the carpet and suddenly like the
furry.
It's furry. Like, man, it's ruined. Anyway, I divulged a little bit. So, guys, how was your bank holiday weekend? I'll talk to Rich first.
Go, Rich.
Yeah, I've been first full week in my new job. I was telling the guys I feel like having shit. Like adjusting to nights, it kind of feels like my body's a little jet lagged. But it's been a good week. Got a lot achieved. Feel like I've got the buy-in from the team. And out of work, I've just been bombarded by the relentless amount of new anime that started on the spring season. There's so many good shows across so many different genres. So we'll talk about that next time we do a podcast.
Yeah. Obviously, Rich always covers in Waifu is Rich watching on the Ad Geek Show podcast. what anime he's covering. So he looks like he's a big section, which means I can have a load of time off and I'll choose one game and I'll talk about one game.
Yeah. This is why I'm drinking also lots of coffee, because like my body clock is still all over the place. So
yeah, like you said, man, you probably feel jet lagged. So Tej, you've got children. You must have had a whole different sort of
child.
Children. There's you and your child.
Well, yeah.
And your wife has to look after
my
both.
child leading the child.
My wife has children.
Yeah, your wife has children. Poor proper queen.
Yes, it was a good, good weekend. It started obviously Friday. Proper Queen actually joined me on stream.
I saw. I couldn't join for that stream.
Yeah, she was playing on the TV behind. She was playing. We were playing DBD. She was playing on the PS5, and I was obviously on the PC, and I had like 2 streams going, 2 cameras going, and everything.
Nice.
So which she thoroughly enjoyed. I think.
I'm sure.
But it was her suggestion. I mean, it's the second time she's done it now. But yeah, other than that, it was just a nice chilled Easter weekend spent with family and friends. I did go and see Mario on Sunday.
I've seen Mario.
I've seen Mario, and okay. So first, I will. My daughter loved it, but my daughter's 10, so take that with a huge pinch of salt. I didn't like it. Okay, we've spoken before about like Pixar and like DreamWorks and all that. Yeah, like they make their animated films like in such a way that it's engaging to an adult as well as a child. There's enough content, in them that to keep us happy, to make us feel like we've come out of it and like we've enjoyed ourselves as well. And I just felt that there was none of that in Mario. There were some really cool little parts, like where, and it was
a lot of fan service.
Like the little like game sounds and stuff when they played like little. That was really cool, and I really liked that. But in a whole, the film just passed by, and I was just like, oh yeah, cool, right. Never any real jeopardy or any.
Rich. I would arguably say, have you seen any Illumination film? I know you have. So
like Despicable Me,
yes,
Despicable Me, Minions, Rise of Gru, Minions, Take Over the World, something else with the pill-shaped people, which I love, by the way. I love the Minions. So basically, it doesn't matter if you see Mario because it's a Minions film with Mario and Luigi. So that's all you really need to know. I mean, as fan service goes, Rainbow Road's cool to see. Donkey Kong being Donkey Kong and that sort of attitude. Cranky Kong being Cranky Kong, I guess.
The Donkey Kong thing pissed me off. It like, in all honesty, like the whole Donkey Kong scene, it was just no.
I get it. Wasn't it just Seth Rogen playing Seth Rogen?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and you're listening to him, and you're like, okay, and then it's just the laugh, and you're just like, oh, okay. That's the only reason they've got him is because he's got this laugh, and it works with Donkey Kong. Yeah. But like, I just felt the whole Donkey Kong bit was fucking crap. like
cringe.
Just how it ended. Like it's like, oh, okay, he's far superior, and then just one thing, and Mario just
I know. Be careful, we are wondering.
Yeah, that's
not got that button set up.
Yeah, no, that's why I was just.
We interestingly considered the conversation.
That's why I held back, and it was just the way that played out. But and the whole reason of why, I'm not going to say why, but the whole reason Bowser wants to take over. Is just shit in my opinion. I did like Jack Black.
I'll talk to Rich about it.
I did like Jack Black as Bowser. I didn't like the Italian accents that then just were like, because we've heard the trailer, we've seen the trailer, and there's like they talk as Chris Pratt and Charlie Day talk. Yeah, like, okay, and then it starts and the first like this Italian twang gun, and you're like, huh? And then it comes up and it's like, what the what? I mean,
again, my defense in that is they allowed the original Mario to do it, and they put original Mario in a couple of roles in that for an in-joke that I'm not going to ruin. So I get it. That's their like, look, this guy has been Mario forever.
Yeah,
we've got to give him something. And I get what you're saying, because it sort of like feels like it's trying to poke holes at fans that went, oh, you shouldn't let Chris Pratt be the voice.
I don't have a problem with like if you're going down the route of what his personal life.
It's a Hollywood film.
I don't. Yeah,
it's a Hollywood film. It's got to be a Hollywood actor. if he does an Italian accent, they're going to slate him because he's doing an Italian accent. If he does his own accent, they're going to slate him because
Yeah.
he's doing his own accent. He's fucked.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's why the one blessing that I found from that whole thing going on, and I know we're rattling now, was on April 1st, Mario put up the April Fool's gag of now you can change all Mario games voices
To the voice of Chris Pratt. Yeah.
Luigi as Charlie Day and Bowser. And I
do actually think Charlie Day
that's funny.
is actually like Charlie Day when you listen to his voice and how Charlie Day is as an actor is very Luigi-ish.
Yeah.
Like he could almost be that embodiment of a Luigi, like in real life.
He's a Charlie Day haunted mansion. Not what's it? What do they call
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Give me that movie. Yeah. Give it me now. Fuck Mario. I don't need him. I will take Luigi. I'll take Charlie Day being terrified.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion all day long. Can I just say, in terms of April Fool, Sega bodied everybody with the fucking Who Killed Sonic that actually turned out to be a real fucking video game. It's crazy.
And apparently it's really good. It's been downloaded over 1 million times.
I have no idea about this.
Yeah, it's really good.
So Sega released like on April 1st, like a troll sort of trailer for a game on Who Killed Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. And then like dropped it as a game, and it's like a point and click game where you've actually got to find out who killed Sonic the Hedgehog. For free, it's amazing. Like I love it.
It's like a Who Shot Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
They thanked everyone on Twitter like a couple of days later for like the 1 million people that downloaded and played the game.
One thing,
check it out.
Just going back to do you have any opinions? We've all, I take it, we've all seen Bob Hoskins.
Opinions podcast. Do we have opinions?
Do we have opinions? Like the original Super Mario Brothers, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
And he's came out and
boycotting the film
because of lack of representation in the film. Yeah. Do we have an opinion on that at all? Have you not seen it? He's like become quite the loudmouth where this is concerned.
No, I quite like that actor.
I really like him.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I think he's a really good actor.
John Wick is phenomenal, where he slaps up fucking Alfie Allen.
Yeah. Why did you strike my son? Because he stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog. It's not what you did, son. It's who you did it to.
That nobody?
Yeah. That's nobody. Baba Yaga.
So, I forgot where I was going with it now because we went Baba Yaga.
John Leguizamo whinging about representation for Hispanics.
Man, look, dude, it's a film about fictional Italian plumbers from Brooklyn. I like, man, we're in a world of whitewashing. I don't know what do you want? Like, it's a ridiculous request, in my opinion. Because one, it's voices. It gives a shit, really. Like, and what did he want? Charlie Day to be replaced? What? In fact, I'm just going to do this quick rant now.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Quickly do it. Right. It should be the best actor that gets the job. I do not give a fuck about race, color, creed, accent, or anything. The best actor for the role should get the job. However, I caveat that with, if it's meant to be a black character and the character is asking for a black character, then it should be the best black actor that gets the role. And same across the board. Like, if the character is specifically a race and that is what you're trying to portray in your story, like, for instance, I heard a story once about they tried to get Julia Roberts to play, what was the name of the lady that was the head of the Underground Railroad in America? I can't remember.
I know who you mean. I can't think of the name.
Anyway, they wanted Julia Roberts to play that character. And when the person who wrote the story said, well, you can't do that. It's about black oppression.
Yeah.
Like, and they're going, yeah, but like, she's a bigger draw, and it's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous, though. Like, that's the world gone mad. Like, I don't mind if there's a black Superman. It's an alien. I don't care. Right? I don't care if it's a black Batman, as long as it fits the parenthesis of being Bruce Wayne, and you can get that story across. You know, if you're going to set it in the future, because under certain circumstances, when Batman's originally stated, I don't know whether you could say that there would be that level of rich black man. I mean, you could do, but if it's in the 1950s, it's unlikely if you're going to argue that point. But
Batman's an interesting one because I have zero issue with the idea of a black Batman. In fact, I'm actually quite supportive of it because I quite like the idea of someone that grew up in a different set of circumstances taking over the role. I would have an issue with a black Bruce Wayne because the character's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's my
Batman
point.
isn't an issue.
It's a mantle.
Yeah, just to quickly touch on.
Sorry, just one thing for just housekeeping. It's Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. That's the
sorry.
woman
Carry on, Rich.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, just to touch on Jay's point. Yeah, I'm entirely with you. I have no issues with the right actor or actress for the right role. So, for instance, death in Neil Gaiman's Netflix Sandman adaptation. Traditionally, she in the comic book series, she was a spunky white goth chick, with like almost Egyptian style makeup and things like that. Whereas she was a black lady in the Netflix adaptation, and the woman that played her in Netflix did possibly the best job of anybody I could ever imagine doing it. Because that wasn't important. I had no issues whatsoever. I did have an issue where they turned Roland from the Dark Tower, though, into Idris Elba and made him into a black character. Because race actually plays a very important issue in that particular series. Due to the fact that he sort of recruits a black woman into his sort of party, and there's a lot of tension just simply because she's a very overtly racist person, and there's a lot of racial conflict because of him being white. And it made a lot of people uncomfortable because people are only used to seeing racism as sort of white towards black. It makes I experienced racism sort of kind of once in my life, and it was a very weird and sort of comfortable experience. So it kind of wigged people out, and I think that was an integral part of the story. And I think by making, I've got no issues with Idris Elba as an actor, but I think by changing the ethnicity of the main character, you're missing out on a really interesting conversation and story.
Well, they took that entirely out of that film, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, I see how it works within the context of the film, the story film that you're trying to tell. However, I see your point, which is like, look, if you're not going to tell the proper story, then why are we bothering?
Why are we telling it at all? Yeah.
Why are we bothering? Because if you want to tell a different story, call it a different name, use the similar story premise that you want to use, and maybe it'll sell without it trying to ruin a series of books that I happen to really enjoy.
And this is genuinely impressive because this is probably the longest we've actually before we've even got to the topic at hand. So I think we're doing on a good one today.
As I was going to swiftly move, that brings us nicely into the conversation.
Moving along,
which is why I set it up, because it's what it is. Right. So obviously, our conversation today is going to be about toxicity. So just to get our points clear here, we're not being toxic to anyone. But because of the subject matter, you have to understand that there are going to be some harsh opinions here, not probably from us, but obviously we're going to talk about people on the internet, and people on the internet is a scary, horrible place full of scary.
Yeah, for real. Just go check the YouTube comments of your favorite video.
So in Toxicity, I'm going to pull this from Wired, and it's just a sort of a catch-all for what toxicity you can experience. We will expand on it, and we will talk about other forms of toxicity across media, as in a general, including social media. So this can include sexual harassment, hate speech, threats of violence, doxing, which is publicizing other people's private information, spamming, flaming, which is strong emotional statements meant to elect negative reaction, griefing, also known as using the game in unintended ways to harass others, and unintentionally inhabiting the performance of one's own team. Now, there are other ones of that, Rich. I know you've got a couple. So what we're going to do, guys, I'm going to talk mainly from a video game point of view, which is what I've experienced it in. Obviously, I'm a redhead, so I can talk to that sort of experience as well if you want. And obviously the other guys will have their own personal experiences. So I'm not going to talk first. I'm going to pass it over to either one of you two, whichever one wants to talk first. Let me know by raising your hand.
I'm easy.
Yeah, let Rich go. Let Rich go.
Erica.
Can I just ask? Actually, can I just ask? Do either of you know or remember your first real experience of toxicity within gaming? Do you
100%.
remember it? Okay, cool. Because I feel this would be a really interesting point to look at how what we first experienced to what we experience now, and if it has changed, how it has changed. You know, just as a quick thing, like before we go on the whole topic as a whole, just one little thing of our own, like from where our understanding originates from of this, you know, for ourselves personally.
Just to answer your question quickly, mine was probably when sitting down playing GoldenEye on an N64 was probably my first real experience of not online toxicity.
I was going to say, well, in the room toxicity. Wow. Okay, cool.
When someone picked Odd Job, the amount of abuse that came out of a 11 to 12-year-old's mouth was quite horrific. Odd Job is a legitimate player. I don't care that he's small.
You weasel.
You know, we're talking about like hacks and stuff in the game. He's like getting the legit hack, and he's like, if I get the midget, like, you know, they can't shoot me.
Bloody hell, careful with that word.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I do apologise. I apologise.
Yeah, like in terms of probably my first experience was probably, you know, I don't know if you call it toxicity, because my group of friends, we are like a lot of shit talkers, man. So there is, you know, there's always been that when we're playing games, like you know, in a room together, even board games and stuff. But in terms of online games, yeah, definitely it was Call of Duty. It was because there was a bit of it in the first Modern Warfare, but I distinctly remember it in Modern Warfare 2, because obviously the whole sort of voice chat thing had become fairly new, become quite common and stuff. That was also a game I had on both the PlayStation and the Xbox, and it was far more prevalent than the Xbox. And it was honestly shocking, the level of shit that came out of people's mouth, to the point where, like, people talk about toxicity and sort of like gaming and stuff these days. You drop them in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby and they wouldn't survive, because it was the level of stuff you'd hear off people. But conversely, on the flip side, I kind of into it a little bit, you know what I mean? I do enjoy like a bit of... So the best time I've had on a Call of Duty in the last decade was a random night that I was playing Infected on, you know, the new Modern Warfare, the first one. I was playing the Infected game mode of that, and some geezer, super toxic, it fucking hacked. He was the last survivor, and he'd hacked his way out the map so nobody could get him. And like these two geezers from one was from Liverpool and one from Manchester, had their mics on, and they were just laying into this geezer over the headset, and I was howling about it. So I put my mic on and I joined in, and we had a laugh. And then they invited me to a party, and we ended up picking up a geezer from Scotland and a geezer from Wales along the way. And like, because you can talk across, like, you know, like in the lobbies, you can talk like against your opponents, can't you? And it was just like, we ended up in a group, so all these English people in a group full of American people. And then we were in a group for like Eastern European, like Russian, before obviously all the nonsense happened and stuff like that. And like the shit talking going backwards and forwards was honestly horrendous. But it made my night. I had just such a good fucking time with it, you know. I think there's like... there's a line, isn't there? Do you know? Because like conversely, I've also seen firsthand the level of stuff my sister experiences when she plays things like Overwatch, and it's upsetting. You know, like second. So she point blank refuses to use headsets in like team communication games. You know,
that's a shame. That's a shame that no one can. Well, I mean, this comes back to our point, obviously. But we're going to let TJ tell what his first experience with toxicity in a second. Obviously, that comes back to the point of, you know, how people experience it. We will touch on like how females get treated, probably a little bit worse than men. Anyway, TJ, what was your first experience?
I would have to say, so it was obviously, it wasn't even in like voice chat. It was in message, because like FIFA, like back in the day, originals like FIFA, that when you could first play online, didn't have voice communication, but obviously you could send messages to people. So I
Yeah.
remember getting that, playing the game, you score a goal, and the thing is, like you do the fucking stupid, goofy celebrations and stuff just to wind people up. Then you do the,
Yeah.
if you score a sweaty goal, you'd be a bit of an arsehole,
Yeah, of course,
score
man.
a sweaty goal,
Standard.
but then you'd get the old bing little message symbol come up in the corner mid-game. You'd open it up and it'd be, I remember like people threatening to like find out where I live and burn my house down, and like and it's like, it's proper keyboard warrior stuff. It's like, okay, like I have no idea who you are, Jake 4785962, whatever. Like, I'm never going to find you, you're never going to find me, but from the safety of your own sofa, like another probably 14-year-old or whatever is able to write messages that they're gonna like try and kill my whole family.
Like
it's
Jay,
mad.
I'll tell you, like, you don't get a lot of voice chat in fighting games, and I used to be very big into the online fighting game community, and like I'd be playing particularly Dragon Ball Fighter Z because I got pretty sweaty at that game when that came out, and I'd be in a party with Jay and the rest of our guys as well. That I think they were playing possibly Anthem at the time. Yeah, and they'd know, like, I'd have a match and I'd say, like, at the end of the match, I'd be like, this geezer's messaging me afterwards, and then like 30 seconds later, it'd be like, bam, PlayStation, you fucking prick, and just like, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of get off on it a little bit, man.
I had a thing that me and Jay spoke about just before you jumped in the call, Rich, about in certain aspects, like how much of it is as well, because we're both very much we like the UFC, we like fighting and stuff, and like psychological warfare is like a big part in that, getting in someone's head, getting in them, like and throwing them off their game. And I also wondered, with a little bit of like the voice chat and everything, it's some people
proximity chat more.
So this was it in the proximity chat, because you can hear them from a distance, and like you can ramp it up, and if
I'm gonna get
used in the right way, sort of like for like a psychological warfare, like proximity chat, like is amazing for that. Obviously not the, like, if you want to throw out racial slurs and all that kind of shit, I'm obviously not talking about that, but just to get inside this person's head and freak someone out and be like, get them off their game, even if you knock 5% off their game, do you know what I mean? Then like gives you that advantage.
You can make it like what we used to see in the proximity chat was, we'd be looking around a building. We're Rich and we're Sweet and other people that we used to play Warzone with. And because proximity chat was there, you'd hear something, and we're bullshitting because we're always bullshitting.
Yeah.
And then they'd hear us, and you'd start hearing going, "I'm gonna get you," and they don't know I'm talking, but they can hear a voice. So all they're going to do now is like look around. Someone is going to be close enough to hear their voice.
Yeah, that they can hear.
And like, so that does work in psychology, because like even then, me and Rich were like, right, we need to shut up now because like fucking
behave. There's people. I find it like I'm far worse for it online than I say I'm in person. In person, I match whatever energy the person's giving me. So if someone's a dick, then Jay, I'll tell you this, like we've played games of Apex where particularly when Arenas was back in it, and Arenas was, for those that don't know, instead of it being a battle royale, it was a 3 versus 3, one squad versus the other, and I was very honourable, and I was very, do you know what I mean, I played the game like almost with a code of conduct until someone was an asshole. And then the second you're an asshole, cool, you've opened that door, I can play that game too, and unfortunately, I'm probably much better at it than you. So then it'd be, the teabagging, the finisher spam, the whole fucking shebang. It's like you're going to learn today that sort of behaviour. Like, you want to play that game, cool. I'm not above playing that sort of game. But you've got to open the door. Like, I know I can be a very sort of borderline toxic individual, but that's only usually when the door has been already opened by somebody else. I tend to go in and try and play pretty much everything I do with a code of conduct. But the second someone's being an asshole, but then like Pokemon, when I used to go play Pokemon in tournaments or something, if somebody's there being like this, I'll be exactly, oh, Bo, how'd you feel about that? In your face and all this. But if it's some like little timid Timmy, sat there like this, I'm not going to be like, whoa, lording all over him, because it's just savage,
You should have grabbed his head and barked in his face.
Going for kill.
How you feel, lad?
Yeah.
Okay, that's that physical abuse, Jay. You need to sort yourself out, mate.
Yeah,
I didn't touch him. I farted in his face.
Get arrested.
You
not
said
doing the red
grab
gas.
his head. You grabbed his head.
Semantics. They can't prove it. They can't
Yeah.
prove it.
It's on camera.
How come
Yeah.
that hand?
Edit that out.
Right. So what I would say, though, I mean, talking about psychological, it's what another streamer friend of mine and TJ's, Jay's on it, used to say about DJ, which is like when they teabag, it's to make you twist. What's it called? Twist? No, is that right?
Tilt.
Tilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mate, mad.
that is like more psychologically. It's like to make you angry, to make you mess up more. You know, swipe more. DBD conversation. This being of like, you know, make an early swipe out of anger and the want to absolutely get that guy down because he keeps teabagging me or flashlighting me or whatever.
We have all played Call of Duty. We've all played it 100%. And Call of Duty is always the most annoying for this because of the kill cam. You can always see exactly who killed you and where they fucking are. How many times have you blindly rushed to your death because some pricks fucking camped in a corner and killed you? And you've gone running in straight through the same door, bam, he's killed you again. And then you're madder. So what do? You go running straight in the same fucking door again, bam, you're done.
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, fuck you. You know, and then you do, but you know, you do eventually kill him after he's got a 9 kill streak, killing your sorry fucking triggered ass.
Isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
Yeah,
well, we've all done it. We've all
sense from gamers.
Not
exactly.
Like,
100% I've done it. Yeah,
can look at me and say you haven't done that.
I heard you the other night going, "Who's that one who keeps flashlighting me? I want to go and get him." Anyway, we should probably point back around to Toxicity. Obviously, we're talking about our experiences with Toxicity. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the most innocent person in the world, and I've never been toxic. I've never been raped.
Levels.
I've never been.
Yeah.
I've never sexually harassed anyone. I'm not interested in that side of it. I am going to call you shit if you shit. Unfortunately,
yeah, I'm right, you got shit on, kids.
To a point, I like what Rich was saying about you match their energy to a certain. Like, there's always that line that I won't cross. If they're going to come in, they want to come in with the old GG Easies or your shit or whatever, or you know, I'm cool. I'll match that energy. They go across that line, and I'm just like, I'm just walking away because I can't, you know, I can't be asked to deal with this, like, and B, I'm dealing with a fucking toddler, and the way I look at it, like, you know, who hurt you, dude? Like, go and see someone seriously, like, you know, I'm just gonna go and move on.
The way I always say to someone, look, don't argue with stupid on the internet. Arguing with stupid on the internet is the equivalent of playing chess with a pigeon. Like, you may think it's going all well and good.
I'd love to play chess with a pigeon.
Yeah, no, but honestly, you may think it's all well and good, you're having a good game, and then at some point, the pigeon is going to shit on the board, kick all the pieces over, and fly off thinking it's won. You know what I mean? That's exactly what arguing on the internet is.
Now, what'll happen is the pigeon would win, then do all that as the mocking.
Yeah, just
I just fucked you up. Fucking flap off.
How did he get my king?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Like, I think there's a very distinct difference between like shit talk and toxicity. You know, to some people, there might be some people who are very sort of like one of my friends, Matt, is one of the sickest artists you've ever met. Bless him. Like, if he heard someone like me on proximity chat with the level of shit I talk, he'd genuinely be terrified in real life, you know. And that isn't sort of my intention. I don't try and go sort of too far. But I do like, it's a competitive game. Yeah. I feel that anything that there is a competitive game, there should be a sort of level of healthy sort of banter and bullshit, because at the end of the day, it is only a fucking game. But then there's also a line that shouldn't be crossed. So, like, if I'm sat there playing a fighting game with someone, I might be like, "You're shit." I wouldn't be like, "You're shit" because you're a girl. You know, that's a different level. That's like that's personal. You know, and it's not true. So
it just reminded me of a story when you said personal. I was playing a game of Tekken 3, or possibly Tekken Tag. So that's how long ago it was, kids. And I was playing with a guy that me and Rich know called Decker. Now, Decker is unequivocally one of the best Tekken players for his time during his time in the world. Now, Decker's great laugh. but I remember playing against him, and I can't beat him.
When he says,
I'm not going to beat him.
when he says like one of the best Tekken players in the world, not bullshit.
No,
like,
that's not me.
genuine,
Like going,
official
he's that good.
rankings.
I'm saying like he's official rankings.
Yeah,
one
like
of the
was
top
one of the
players
best.
for
Yeah,
Tekken.
had an arcade cabinet in his front room.
Yeah,
like
and
given by the company that makes the game, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
So when you were bored, you'd go around Tex, and Tech would give you a couple of games, a couple of lessons. I mean, basically, it was a bit of slapping.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, back one,
And
two,
there's
kid.
a couple of times, like I don't know if you've ever played Tekken, TJ.
Yeah, I have.
Played
Years
Tekken?
ago.
There's a term that Deckard coined, and I always remember it now. And he beat me just 3 times on the trot, a couple of P's, and he went, "It's become personal, ain't much." You know? It fucking has become personal. It feels like it's an insult at me now.
Yeah. I once beat him like 3 rounds, all perfect, and then he beat me something like the next 42 games in a row.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Your P don't look that impressive anymore, does it, kid?" It's just like, you're right. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like say,
The last 10 games, who you want me to beat you in, Mush? What do you mean? I'll just pick a random kid. Oh, look, I'm Roger. The back 1, 2 kid, you're in the air. How you feeling? Oh, no. While standing 3. It's all
what I
over, kid.
mean, what I mean by beat you is like he would. I don't know if you know what launching is, but it's when he gets you in the air, and he would just keep you there or on the ground for the entire game, and to the point where you just feel like going, "I'm just gonna put the fucking pad down."
That was the most borderline toxic thing in our gaming circle anyone has ever done. He'd have a bell that if he ever fucking if he ever beat you with a perfect, he'd ring the bell.
Ding, ding.
Like, honest to goodness, man, it was like, yeah, in terms of,
And you had to pass the pad. The shit thing was after that you had to pass the pad.
yeah, like in closest to sort of like real life gaming circles, with my friends.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen like genuine toxicity and bullshit at gaming events and stuff like that. But in terms of like our friendship group, that was the closest thing to ever being a bit too far, man. It's like, you've just whomped me and now you're ringing a bell in my face. What, you want me to crawl under the table while I'm at it?
I mean, nothing will ever make you as angry as losing the title of Master in Chief of the whole universe to something ridiculous like someone playing Ling and then backslapping you into a corner the entire game.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
goes away.
Anyway,
but it was
Tekken back in the day.
Yeah, it was a lot of Tekken. There's a lot of toxicity Tekken back in the day.
Yeah.
So, being on that, we're talking about toxicity. Being that everyone knows that I'm always trying to preach on about me trying to be a video game voice actor. There was some toxicity recently on Twitter, being that we're going to talk about social media as well, and it ties in with video games.
There's always toxicity on Twitter.
Really,
fucking hell.
One of the video game actress, can't remember her name, who did Ada Wong's voice in the most recent Resident Evil remake. It always saddens me that someone has to go to the extreme of deleting their whole account just because of the pure amount of abuse from whiny fanboy gamers. And it's always either people of our age who've played the original and then somehow think that they've got the right to choose in a product that they didn't make. They had no input on other than purchasing for £45.
That's the thing, though. Sorry to just interject, though. That's what makes them think they've got a right, because their argument is, I have paid the money for this, so that gives me a say.
Yes, and you can also
whether that be. I'm not agreeing with that. Sorry, just to say, I'm not agreeing with that. By the way,
you can give that game back and go, no, I'm such a fucking fuckwit, and I'm not going to enjoy an experience because unfortunately they didn't pick the voice actress that I wanted.
Exactly that. Like it being dissatisfied with the product is one thing. That poor woman went into a studio, did her job.
What she was asked to do.
Yeah, what she was asked to do.
A great job, by the way.
And to the point where like it's in the fucking game, so it's not like she did this awful fucking job. They were happy enough that they put it in the fucking game. You might not have personally liked that. Okay, cool, that's fine.
I'm saying you can have your opinion.
Yeah, your issue is with the product. It's not with the person. There's no need to be fucking taking it out on that
your
ball,
issue,
you cunt.
Like I say, you.
He's right.
He's right. Yeah. No, but no. I was going to say, like, you're exactly right in the fact that yes, it's not her fault. She's been asked to do the job. She's been given this briefing. She followed that briefing to the letter. I would assume, and they've gone, oh great. So your gripe should never be with her. Your gripe should be with game producer, game developer, game
yeah.
whomever, higher up. If you want to gripe at someone, that's the person you gripe at, not the person who was just doing their job.
People knew the voice actors beforehand, so they could have chosen to not buy the game, but they didn't. They bought the game anyway because that wasn't a big enough issue to stop them playing the fucking game. They wanted to play the game more than that bothered them. But now that they're finished, they want to get on their internet high horse, and instead of actually taking the issue up with Capcom and saying, I don't agree with your decision to recast the voice actress, the original did it better, rare, they just went and personally attacked the woman. And it's like, you're a dickhead, man.
By the way, Capcom are totally within their right to go, good point. However, we like her.
My game. Yeah, my game.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like it's something we've spoke to previously. There seems to be this common misconception that because you enjoy something, Last of Us is a very good example. A lot of people were very unhappy, particularly with part 2, because they feel that because they've, as TJ accurately pointed out, they've bought and invested in this, they feel like a sense of ownership, like they have a say in what it is. But like, you only bought into it because the creator did what they wanted with the story in the first place. So just like buy in and leave them to it. Like, they might take it in a direction that you might not like, but that doesn't give you the right to then be a fucking arsehole.
Harass someone.
Yeah, we seem to have lost
Laura
the
Bailey
idea
got
of
harassed the fuck because of that game.
Yeah.
You can not like what she did or what the character did, but she's playing a character.
In a story. Yeah,
but then it leads back in. Sorry, to your previous statement about, like, when we first started off, when we were talking about Mario and Luigi and stuff, and you're saying about the right person for the right job. Not everyone's going to agree with that, but ultimately, you know,
it's their story. You can't argue with them.
It's like, we're not in those positions of power, so you know,
and that's sort of top and bottom, really. You can not. I'm not saying people like, fuck me. We're in a podcast called Opinions of the Uninformed. Everyone on the internet is either informed about what they're talking about or they're not informed. And worse than that, because of like silly uninformed uninformed opinions from some people, that spreads like wildfire. As if it's true. This is the whole reason that our podcast is called Opinions of the Uninformed, because we're putting it on Front Street. So we are just chatting. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, we're not. It's nothing's fact.
No.
You know, that's something else though. People like confuse opinion with fact. Like this is it's why I'll very rarely ever refer to something as shit, because it's like Dead by Daylight, for instance. Like I dislike the game. I don't think it's shit. It's just not
it's not your type of game. It's not. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not shit, because if it was absolutely shit, no one would play it. You know, people do play it. I know loads of people that play it and loads of people that enjoy it. So my opinion is, for me personally, okay, I find it shit, but that isn't the same thing as it's shit, is it?
No, exactly. Like opinion, like we say, like you are 100% entitled to an opinion, to have an opinion, but the opinion doesn't give you the right to be an asshole, harass someone to the point where they feel unsafe and have to leave a social media platform. Because and the other thing that bugs me, just it's a little bit of a tangent, but is that I also imagine, let's just say 10,000 people attacked her. 10,000, those 10,000 people, not everyone has the same. Not everyone's opinion is that she was terrible, but you get these little fuckers who jump on the bandwagon. And just want to be like, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna like, let me see. I want to throw some stones at this person as well, just for the sake of it.
Trolling.
And it's like the anonymity of the internet, isn't it? Like people, there's
being the little egg.
And people are obviously, people will say the vilest shit online to people, and then they'll hide behind that right, freedom of speech. If you try and say something back to them, and it's just like, no, you misunderstand the whole concept of freedom of speech. Like, freedom of speech means you can say exactly whatever the hell you want to say. However, that same freedom of speech means I can call it bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, if I think it's bullshit. So
just remember,
it's not freedom
all
of speech.
Actions.
It's not the same thing as freedom from repercussions, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
all actions have reactions. So when you say something, my reaction might be to smack you in the mouth. That might be my reaction.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
be
you know,
mindful.
that's
See,
not
Jay
me
just wants to
taking.
assault people again.
Yeah, that's not me taking away your ability to say said
Yeah.
thing, but you have to understand that saying said thing there will be a consequence for.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a discussion with someone with Gina Carrero, got when she got fired from The Mandalorian because she
For
was
her
saying all this.
comments, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into
No.
one
We're
way
not a
or the other,
political podcast.
but I don't understand like how anyone could have a problem with Disney firing her for what she was saying, because that's their right to. It's the house and mouse. You know what I mean? You kind of like belittling your audience, like one way. Again, whether you agree with her or disagree with what she was saying, it's kind of irrelevant at this point. She said some shit that obviously doesn't align with what Disney had to say, so she had to let go. And someone I know was like, "Oh, that's infringing of freedom of speech." No, it's not. They didn't ban her from Twitter. They just fired her from that job.
I would imagine, sorry to think, that her contract would state, especially with something like Disney, that she cannot do anything that can bring a black mark against Disney, like in that kind of in today's day and age, which going on social media as a celebrity, if you will, like with a big following and making the comments that you make. Like your employer
reflects on them, yeah,
exactly.
And it's like 100% that's going to be in there, because my previous retail job before this one, German supermarket, that was in the contract there,
and that's not Disney.
I actually said, the guy I was having this discussion with, he says, infringing of freedom of speech, and he says, no, it's not. She can still post all this stuff. She just can't work for Disney anymore while she's doing it. And to prove the point, like, you've got the freedom of speech. You're working for a German retailer. You go online and say some shit related back to some 1945 level stuff, and see how long you keep this job for. Guarantee you it's not very fucking long, son.
Mate,
and
it probably happens. Sorry, Jake, go on, Jay.
That's right. I worked in a shop, and on the back of one of the toilet doors, it said, with a picture of a mobile phone, to be careful what you're saying on social media, because if you put the company in a bad light, it will come with a disciplinary.
Right, just you know that fucking someone is supposed to say while they've gone for a poo while working for that company, and a higher up has seen it, and that's why that has gone round and it's on the back of every toilet door. Because when you're pissed off at work and you go to the toilet, you want to vent, and that's when you're going to vent.
That's why I never have. Any of my social media, it never says where I work.
No.
Because I don't want any shit coming back to me. And if I've ever had a crap day at work, I just post something like, work was a bit crap today, so there's nothing that ties me to any specific organisation. So I can't be sort of done for it. Shit has consequences, unfortunately.
Especially how many companies nowadays actually, I would imagine when you go in and you fill out an application form, you have to agree to let them vet you essentially via your social media and stuff. We've all seen the adverts, haven't we?
That's
where
a lot
people
more
say,
prevalent now.
I remember there was a classic old advert where it was just these people and they're sitting there going Davey 457. It was massive cock 123, and it was like, what the fuck is this advert? And it's it's my email, and it was your email name says a lot about you and whether a company might hire you. And if you're massive schlong 579. So we're looking for this higher up position at this really prestigious firm. Don't think we're going to be hiring Mr. Massive Schlong, are we?
Yeah, 100%, mum.
So if I want to reach you to get this job, I just email anal fury at Hotmail.
But that's I do feel like I think toxicity in general has always sort of existed because humans are genuine arseholes. But I think in terms of exposure to it, the internet was the biggest sort of contributing factor, because everyone's got access to various social media sites. Everyone's got platforms where their voices can be heard. Everyone's got, how many people have consoles with headsets under them where they can just say whatever the fuck to some next stranger that's only in the game for 5 minutes, and then never to be heard from again. It's almost like consequenceless fucking bullshit, isn't it?
Well,
that
brings me a little bit. It brings me to another point of toxicity that happened for a hot minute over in America, more so than anywhere else that I heard of anyway, was, of course, swatting.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's just come back up as being because I know a couple of high profile prevalent people who have been swatted recently, like 3 or 4 times, and to the point where I can't remember who the person was, but they've said that it's to the point now where they actually, they've been called to her house so many times that it's now just they know the address, they've got to go. But it's literally, it's no more like kick the door down, fucking, armed guards running in.
Knock on the door.
It's knock on the door. Yeah, we've got another one,
Just to clear up for everybody, swatting is when someone finds out either your IP address and manages to get your address, and then says that there is some kind of conflict going on in your house, and the SWAT team.
Well, firearms, bombs,
drugs. There's firearms, there's a drug den or something like that. So, you see it on streamers. Imperial Hal, like the most decorated Apex Legend player like that has ever existed. You see it's happened to him quite a few times. We'll be there. Like, the last time it happened, he was so casual about it. Like, these door fucking thunders, and he just takes his headphones off and he's like, "Yeah, sir, I'm coming to the door."
And they just stand there, your hands up, and completely compliant.
Absolutely wild, man. The fact that it's happened to them that much, that they're just like, it's almost instinct on the process to follow. It's insane. Like, what's wrong with people?
And that is crazy. That is a crazy.
Someone could potentially get shot.
Exactly, that's a crazy level of toxicity that you're endangering someone's life by lying, and probably going to get away with it scot-free, and I hope they don't.
Well, you're not just endangering that person's life, but think of the resources that have been taken away from another potential emergency because you've sent, because it ain't just 1 or 2 officers they send, it's like 8 or 9 officers they send.
They've then got to all in full tack gear,
and they've not only got that, but they've then got to go through the house inch by inch just to make sure there's nothing there. So they're there for like hour and a half, whatever it is. Like, in that time, something massive could happen. That the knock-on effect of you taking these half a dozen to a dozen agents away from officers, I should say, away from their duty, it's just the ramifications are
because someone beat you
enormous.
On a video game.
Well, it's not even just so much that, is it? It's like, for that, it's, do you know what, right? Okay, so it's become a more prevalent, obviously Twitch has become a massive thing in the last few years, hasn't it? And I think that has exacerbated the whole toxicity. It's not an argument you could say, because you now, like, it's become a point of like a reactionary thing, trying to get a reaction out of the streamer. We've all had it, like, or me and Jay, sorry, we're streamers. We, something will happen.
A pretty good reaction out of Rich every now and then.
But obviously, right, obviously he's not on Twitch, is he? But like, so someone will come into your chat and start hurling abuse.
Well, you have me.
Yeah, they'll like hurl abuse at you because they want to get a reaction out of you. They want you to lose your temper while you're live in front of your however many, 5 people, 100 people, 1,000 people.
Watch me in 5 games of Apex, guys. You want to see me lose my temper?
Yeah.
5
and
games of
Apex. It's just their sole goal is
mine in 2.
Their sole goal is to get a reaction. Because if they get the reaction they want, they've won. The same as the swatting thing. If they get the streamer off of his stream, they've won. Like, and it's like it's such sad. And I just feel that for as great as streaming it is just like I say, it's exacerbated the whole toxicity merry-go-round.
Well, the problem is, dude, is with anonymity now, they can do it, laugh, tell the mates they did it, have a good chuckle, rewatch the VOD, enjoy it over and over again, knowing that nothing's going to happen to me. Nothing.
Well, they get banned. Okay, you run your IP for a VPN, and then you just fucking start up a new account.
Yeah, it's simple as, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? That's it's almost the problem with the internet.
Yeah.
Because I can make a fucking 1,000 email addresses.
Yeah.
I could show up as 1,000 people in some stream, completely mob you with one message that I've macroed to be 1,000 times through all these accounts. If I want to, if I could, well, not if I want to, because I don't have the ability. Kids, don't think I have. I haven't got the time, the energy, the resources, the means.
More to the point, I can't be fucking.
I was going to say, you haven't got the want to do it
with my day.
Exactly. However, if you ever see 1,000 people in my stream, I have worked it out.
Yeah. on it.
Yeah, there'd be no chatter. Like, it's just 1,000 people.
Yeah, so
a load of people go, wow, much great.
yeah, a type of taxis is sort of you do see it so much with gaming, but more so the mediums. I'm referring more towards things like comic books and stuff here. I was going to talk about gatekeeping,
Yeah.
which is something that's always really mystified me and makes me very angry because like
Explain
the people.
gatekeeping for us, mate. Explain gatekeeping.
Yeah, so gatekeeping will be like Marvel's a fantastic example because the prevalence of Marvel in current cinema has brought a lot of new people in. So there's a lot of new people that now know who Iron Man are, who Captain America are, and who all these other various heroes are. And people that were fans of
Before.
the medium before it became popular sometimes get very, very angry at this new influx of fans coming in, and they bemoan them. They call them not real fans. They try and make them not welcome into the fandom. And I don't understand that because, like, for me, like, no one is born with an inherent. Because you've probably started to figure this out. You asked Jay, like, in terms of like comic books, particularly DC, I have a pretty encyclopedic knowledge. Like, I'm the guy all of my comic reader friends come to ask for stuff when they want to know something. And I don't want to be all like, "Wow, look at me," but that's kind of my role
That's
in the
fair,
group,
that's
isn't
fair.
it, Jay?
A little bit.
And it sort of it mystifies me because I didn't come out of the womb knowing that. I knew that because I got introduced at a very young age to the source material, and I've always been interested. That interest has never gone away, so I've always kept up to date with this and stuff like that. I didn't pop out of my mother going, well, in this specific issue of Batman in 1972.
He did. Don't believe
Did
him,
I?
kids. He did.
Yeah, I probably did actually. I probably did.
Don't believe him.
So everyone has to be introduced to it like somehow. And the one example that always comes into my head is there's a wonderful comic book shop up in Birmingham called Comics and Nostalgia. And I know it very well as me, Jan. And I was in there once. It wasn't too long after Guardians of the Galaxy had come out, and it's no secret for the vast majority of its lifetime, the comic book industry has been populated by sort of nerdy white guys. And I'm in this comic book shop, and there's this. It's really quite cute, actually, like short alternative-y, like redhead girl, and she's wandering around the aisles, and she goes up to this guy. And when I say like, you'll know exactly what he looks like and his general demeanor when I just say comic book fan.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I mean with the
Simpsons
the
kids.
big.
Oh, that's
yeah,
what
the
I'm
big-
thinking. I was thinking the guy
Yeah,
from Simpsons.
yeah, sort of, like more so like with the big glasses
And sorry, but you
the little
wasn't a real
flicky head of his
fan.
hair and stuff. And she came up and she was looking for comics for Rocket Raccoon. Because obviously she'd seen Guardians and she really liked the character. And the guy started like bemoaning her because oh yeah, you only like that because you've just gone and seen the film, haven't you? And I'm just stood there, and I went over to him, and I'm like, "What the fuck's wrong with you, bro?" And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "One, this is probably the single like hottest woman that's ever going to speak to you in your life, and you're already blowing it. And two, like you had to get into it somehow, like nurture the enjoyment, like Rocket Raccoon, like Guardians of the Galaxy were a very obscure property. I'm a comic book nerd. I didn't know a great deal about most of the members of Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew a couple of them. I knew who Rocket Raccoon was. I didn't know anything about him. I knew who Groot was. I didn't know anything about him. I knew a fair bit of Star-Lord because I loved his costume. So like a lot of that was new to me. Like Drax's backstory and all this sort of stuff. I didn't know any of that, and I'm a huge sort of fan of the entire medium.
It was an obscure comic series. Comic series.
Exactly, and
especially in the UK. I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah, the point I always try and make to people is like, do you know who wins when more people get into that thing you love? Everybody. That's who wins because you've got more people that you can share this passion with. Like, I got all the stuff I got bullied for when I was a kid is now super popular. Like video games. Believe it or not, I used to be bullied for liking video games because up until the PlayStation 1 came out, they were the realm of the nerds. Sat there playing my Atari ST and all this instead of going out and playing football. Like I was a loser, this, that, and the other. PlayStation comes out, now everyone's a gamer. Like I used to be bullied because I'd take comic books into my library at school. So for English lessons, we'd have to take books in and read. I'd always take like Batman or Superman books and stuff like that. Rah, look at him, comic book, he's a loser. Now they're the most popular medium in the world. Like, am I angry that the rest of the world has now finally caught up to my level of interest? No, I think it's the best fucking thing in the world, because I can go to my goddamn mother's house and have a conversation with my grown-ass mother about Deathstroke the Terminator. Now, 20 years ago, I never would have dreamed I would live in a universe where that could be possible. That's amazing, you know. So I don't understand.
Sorry, go on. Finish.
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 I'm just going to say, I just don't understand why this level of hostility. Like, I can understand the sort of, you know, this was mine beforehand. I kind of get the ownership, but like on the flip side, like, surely you want more people to like it. That's the whole point.
That's what. That's what I was going to ask. Sorry, I was just going to say, like, do you feel that, that because, like, say, a lot of people would share the same like upbringing in a sense of you saying like bullied for their you know, called a nerd, you know, nerd was such a like
ginger.
Ginger. Well, not even so much that, but do you know what I mean? It was like nerd was such a like a hurtful word.
A derogatory term, wasn't it?
Now it's just simply you're a cunt. But like, so nerd was that back in the day, pretty much. Like, and it was a word used to demoralize, to demean people. Like, and you have this group of people that have this love, which you know, was their thing, and that they were bullied by the jocks, whoever the girls weren't interested. Oh, the fucking nerd, look at me, it's comic, but whatever. And then do you feel that a lot of these people then, because of that, they've built up like this kind of
like a wall,
and they're like they don't want to see the jocks, they don't want to see these other people. It's like because they've been so trodden on over so much over the years that they've got that like that hatred towards those people who are now wanting to get into that medium that is your medium. Like, why did you bully me back in the day, and now it's okay for you to like this?
I can completely understand that point, but
I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm wondering if that's the mindset. That's the mindset.
I'd say, like, for me, the way I've got a very sort of contrary mindset to it, whereas I've loved it because, like, you know, because everybody sort of knows, you know, one of the OGs of that sort of, you know, medium, if you will. It's almost like you're the sort of the oracle. You know, so when all of the casual people, so when my mom's like watching, you know, the fucking Flash TV show or something like that, who's this character? She messages me, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm just like, yeah, that's super fucking cool. It's just like, you know, so there is still that sort of level of distinction, because you will know and understand more because you've been there. So yeah, I think it's just looking at it at the wrong point of view. It's like being quite. It's almost like continuing the cycle. It's like carrying on the bullying, if you will. You know, you bullied me because I liked it. Now I'm bullying you because now you like it. It's just like, nah, man, break the fucking cycle. Welcome people into it, man.
And my opinion on it is, I mean, I was very much a video game kid, so like I was nerded because I was a video game kid. It added on the fact they're on ginger, but you know, that's all part of the package. They want to pick something, then they can put nerd on top of it. Then you've got big ears, big nose, red hair, something. I mean, kids find a fault, pick on it until they get what you want. Unless you can do the better thing, which is two things really. You can be funny, and generally be funny deflects a lot of things. Or you can just ignore it to the point where they give up because they're not getting the reaction out of you, which is basically what any kind of toxicity or bullying is about. It's somebody going, I want a reaction from them because that reaction makes me feel good. And I feel like I can, you know, calm the nightmares in my own head by bullying someone else. If you want to go psychological, I guess. But my point would be, being on video games, is I'm not about gatekeeping at all. Like, because for me, when I was a kid and I was playing video games, all I wanted was to find someone else and go, have you played Final Fantasy VII? Like, did you get this emotion during this moment?
One of the first things we bonded on.
Yeah. Like, how did it make you feel? This is how I felt. And you almost feel like, I'm exposing my exact weakness now. Like you've showed me something, I'm showing you something. You know, can we make this sort of feel like, you know, is there a friendship to grow? Especially at that age. Me and Rich met we were like 16. So, you know, we're
Yeah.
both new into a college.
Yeah.
You know, how do you make friends? I've just left friends that I've had for the past 5 years or 10 years in some experiences. So now I've got to make a whole new group of friends. And video games for me was, you know, one of those things I didn't shout from the hilltops. And Rich didn't shout from the hilltops that he was a Slipknot fan with his Slipknot top on. But because he was wearing a Slipknot top,
he come with the pig mask, didn't he? He was wearing the pig mask.
Yeah. I am Slipknot.
Yeah, because Rich was wearing a Slipknot top, and I already liked the music. It became a very easy in for me to sort of go, oh, I like
It's the
Slipknot.
icebreaker, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I can go, you know, then you get to know each other. You figure out that you're both geeks. So at some point, either comic books, films, or video games are going to come into it.
Or all of the above, and
Or all of
anime,
the
you know,
above, and
all of the
you know,
lot.
anime is
That's
one of
where
them.
I
That,
went-
at our age, there wasn't loads of anime about, man.
Yeah.
You didn't dip your toe in anime until you knew someone a bit.
That's where I went wrong. You see, I got into too many of the geek things. I didn't just focus it on like video games or comic books. I was greedy and I wanted
You
it
did it
all.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted it all.
And then I added board games to your list because
Yeah, for real, man. And that took over.
yeah, and I blame Yatesy for that. So
See, I kind of feel like.
That's
Sorry, I was just going to say, I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe like my thing, like it's interesting hearing like your like come up with that, like, and all, because I put myself in a very, like I don't know if I kind of like hid myself away a little bit from that side of me for
in
a
the
while.
closet, in the gaming closet.
Yeah. Well, because like, I mean,
Someone's going to shut me down for that
you
one.
sit here and you see me on the screen and you see this that's going on behind me, which is pop vinyls, movie license plates, Lego. You know, it's just, you know, it's geek central, if you will. Like it's, you know, but this, like, I kind of felt
lazy central if you look behind me.
But it's like so I still played football and everything, and you know, with friends and that. But I kind of I always enjoyed gaming and I always enjoyed like the comics and everything. But I never like I was always wary about going too much down that route.
Yeah,
like, you know, maybe because of I was concerned about. Like, because I had two, no, I had like two different groups of friends. So I had the sport, I was on the lower rung of the popular group, if you will. Like, you got the popular group.
He was the goalkeeper.
You got to pay. No, I was a centre back, but no, you know, like you've got the popular group of people.
Yeah.
You know, you're in terms of who's the most popular in the group. I was on the, but then I also had friends that were like very much they like played D&D and stuff, and they were very much into the comic books, and they, you know, and like they got me into Blink 182 and stuff like that, you know, music that I never would listen to, and you know, it's very much like Offspring and stuff, and it's very much that's as I've allowed myself as I've got older to be like less care of what other people feel and think about me. I feel it's I've kind of opened up. I still get moments of it now though, which is really sad to say, but like it was probably just before COVID hit. I remember I was in Smith's toy store and I'm in the pop vinyl section, and one of my friends who, well, he's wife's
my daughter.
No, that's the thing. Literally, I was there by myself in that aisle. My wife and child were somewhere else in the store, and it's my wife's friend's husband walked down the aisle with his son, and I'm there like, "Oh, mate, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And I felt really.
Do
you know what? Right? Do you know what? I felt really embarrassed for doing it and really stupid for doing it. And he even turned around his head, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm just, you know, checking these out." And he's like, "Oh yeah, cool." And I was like, "Why the fuck was I trying to?"
Yeah.
And it's just those latent things coming back from youth of like, "Oh, I'd get mocked for this." But now it's just
you
like,
imagine being nearly fucking 40, and
that's
then
why I am,
and then telling people that you spend the vast majority of your life buying plastic toy soldiers, building them, and then painting them. People look at you like you are a fucking nutter. I'm just like, I don't give a shit, man. And then show people the work, and they go like, look, you might think I'm just going, nah, no, I'm actually painting. You know what I mean?
I will say that nerds or geeks or whatever you want to classify them as, when they're fully in, like I was fully in on video games, Rich was fully in on comics, I think they will wear it on their sleeve. Like, I never shied away from telling people I played video games, and I never have, and I never will. Like, so I often find that most geeks, like, if they, it's nice to be able to come out into the real world, touch grass and all that jazz, and talk to real people. But like, I always found that geeks would wear it on their sleeve, like Rich wearing literally Slipknot on his sleeve. I think that, if I could have walked around wearing a video game T-shirt, I would have wore it just to say, like, no, this is me, this is where I'm into, and hopefully you'll see it and go, oh shit, I know what that is.
You
I
look
really
at
lose a game.
every
Fucking loser.
T-shirt I have ever owned. Literally, you can ask Jay about this. Every T-shirt I've ever owned is some form of nerd T-shirt.
Yeah.
Everything ever. Like, I've got fucking thousands of them. I think I'm actually wearing a Destiny one today. Would you believe?
Traitor.
Yeah,
No,
the game I've never really played.
He's just showing respect for Lance. So shut up, Jay.
Yeah.
Fuck
Fair,
off.
Fair. Got a John Wick T-shirt underneath it. It's me as John Wick, obviously.
I'm wearing a T-shirt where I'm a goat because I am the goat.
Yeah, like, so. I mean, we sort of swiveled off, but it was a good point, I think, to go on to. Obviously, because I think a lot of toxicity in video games comes from, one, the anonymity of it, and two, from that childhood desire to either fit in, or if you don't think you fit in, to cause so much ruckus that becomes where you fit in. I suppose, like, I think that's where the term troll comes from.
Attention is good attention.
Yeah.
You're just a wanker.
It's fair. It's fair.
Like, there is always that there are just wankers out there.
Like you were saying in regards to messaging people and stuff, I've never ever gone out of my way and messaged somebody first and gone, yeah, I'm a prick. Like, ever. However, if somebody sent me a shit talking message back, I'll go backwards and forwards all night. Like, I'll have a whale of a time doing it, and I'll just get more and more creative as we go. Because, like, I've always got something to say, fucking keep it coming,
Do you find, as the years have rolled on and, like, social media, the use of social media has become so much more prevalent and stuff, the conversation breaks down so much quicker? So, like, you'll post, like, one thing, let's say, or you reply to a post, someone's post, like, within... Like, back in the day, you'd have multiple back and forth, and then you might start getting into people being a bit nasty because your point isn't valid anymore. But now it's just like, there's no this many. It's like 1, 2, boom, then comes the insult. Like, I go, so I'm going to go just in tangent to UFC. I had, someone was writing, so there was a big championship fight that just happened between, Pereira and Adesanya. Adesanya knocked out Pereira, but Pereira had 3 wins against Adesanya previously. People were on that game, well, it's 1-0. And other people were like, well, no, facts, it's 3-1 in the pantheon of fights that they've had. And then I got in, I literally turned and said, well, facts are facts. You can't, like, no matter whether people were saying that one of the fights they got it wrong in the judging. It was like, that doesn't matter because
official result is
history books will show, when we're all dead and buried, the history books will show 3-1. Simple as that. And someone was like, literally, someone was like, God, you're slow. And I was like, straight away, straight in there, like, I've got to I'll get the insult first. And then that's the lead-in. I've got to insult first before I put my point across. There's no discussion now before it's now, no, I'm just going to insult you.
I always used to think of it as a point. It always used to hit me as a point of pride, actually, if I was ever discussing something with somebody, like, arguing online with somebody.
And they broke.
The second somebody brings up a personal point is because they don't have a valid argument anymore. Yeah, 100%. The second you've opened my profile and you're looking through my pictures or my previous stuff just to try and fucking take the piss out of me, it's because you don't have a valid adult point. And that was something I kind of wanted to try and touch on earlier, was that we kind of have lost the ability to have rational discussions with people with opposing points of view. Like, it's almost like if you have an opposing point of view, you're wrong, you're whatever phobic, you're whatever this, you're whatever that.
You're gaslighting, I'm not saying those things
don't exist. But there are particular topics I'm not going to bring up in this
Yeah.
particular podcast. But there's particular controversial topics that I've tried to discuss with people that my opinion might not be massively popular. But I've never heard a particularly intelligent or thoughtful opinion on like why I'm wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just told I'm wrong, and then called like a bigot and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, educate me then, please. Like I'm just bringing up a point.
They want to just shout you down, don't they?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your point isn't valid, and I'm going to shout you down until you're drowned out.
Well, yeah, that's almost what it feels like sometimes. Yeah.
Well, just to put a point on that, I think the other problem that happens with the toxicity that goes on within social media is that likes, dislikes, that little fucking symbol with a laugh face, whatever, suddenly gain some kind of currency weight. So that if my post gets more likes than your post, then my point is more valid because more people. Your opinion was point. And just to point out,
200 people like a point validation.
That's wrong, right? If you go out and you cheat on your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your significant other is, then go online and say, oh, it's because he, I don't know, didn't put the milk back in the fridge, or they didn't put the fucking milk back in the fridge, or whatever the fucking reason is. And then all your friends go, you go girl, or you go man. Not the guys do that, but right, and they'll get on your back in. That doesn't make you right, you're a cheat.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change any fact because so many people are on your side. That means nothing.
Yeah, you've had that affirmation from them, so then that instantly gives you that gratification and that feeling of being right, even though you're
justified
not.
In my actions. Yeah. You're not justified.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, man, vindication.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting though. You go there as well, isn't it? Because you want to it's an interesting thing you bring up about like the likes and how likes define some people. Like,
well, they're defining a lot of people in social media world. Well, it's what gets people products and product placements.
And but obviously how it's been noticed by so for instance YouTube. We're on YouTube. And back in the day, YouTube, dislike.
Like and subscribe, by the way. Sorry, just get that.
Yeah, that's cool. Like and subscribe. So like and dislike was they were both front and center on your videos, and everyone can see the likes and dislikes. Now nobody can see a dislike. Only you, the creator, in the managed video section or YouTube Studio, you can see how many people have disliked it, and it gives you a percentage of likes and dislikes. But you can, and you don't actually have to have it set, so you can see how many people have liked it. It's a fun, when you upload a video, it's automatically on that likes are displayed, but you can turn that off. You can't turn dislikes on, but you can turn likes off. So people won't know if anyone has liked it, hasn't liked it, whatever.
Unfortunately, the problem with that is that a lot of people like things because other people have liked something.
Yeah.
Fucking a million people like that. I tell you what, I'm going to swing on my like as well.
And
have you watched the video?
No. Well, the same with Twitter. Twitter have just introduced this new thing where it's how many people have seen your post, which is since obviously Elon's come in, that's a thing. So now you can actually see, and it's quite interesting because obviously you get to see the reach, your personal reach, because you're it obviously high
how far
prevalent.
am I actually going here?
Yeah.
Only one person like that. Oh, it's okay. Only Laura and TJ saw it.
But that's the thing.
Neither of them liked
That's
it.
the thing. When you're I've had this post up for 5 hours. One person's liked it. Why has only one person liked it? Well, now you can actually see. Well, it's actually because only 7 people have seen it. So by the law of averages, I've actually done quite well to get one.
Not bad.
Yeah,
that's not a bad attach rate.
Yeah,
I'll take that as a thank you, TJ. No worries,
mate. Yeah. It is very interesting, isn't it? I find it very interesting as well how people sort of. Yeah, people use it to validate themselves and how their online presence might actually go completely contrary to what they actually say. So there was somebody, God, this really is going to cause no end of stink. Sorry about this. Someone I used to work with.
Podcast about opinions. They can listen or not listen, bro.
Yeah, she had a boob job because she was, in her own words, she was very self-conscious and stuff like this. But then you look at her Instagram, and I'm just I'm quite a self-conscious person, if I'm being totally honest with you, which is one of the reasons why, you go through my Instagram, there isn't a single picture of me.
It's all,
Yeah, trying to get photos of me is like horrendous. I realise now I'm doing this sort of thing where I'm on camera
Screenshots.
often. Yeah, but like honestly, I've never been one for like, there's not many on my Facebook. There's just not a lot of photos of me. I don't like having a picture taken.
Do need you to do a selfie, by the way, because we want to do the podcast with three.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, she was all like, yeah, I don't like having a picture taken. But then you open up her Instagram account and there's a picture of her like this with a caption underneath saying "swipe right for bum pic." And it's just like, well, no.
And after I've swiped right,
but the filters play a part in that though, because filters kind of give you that false confidence, because you can like any imperfections you think you have. Like there's a new thing, I don't know how prevalent you guys are on TikTok, but there's this beauty like filter you can put on. Oh my god, it would make a fucking turtle look like Margot Robbie. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hold on. What's that called?
I don't know what it's called, but people have gone on there and literally people are filming going, oh shit.
Yeah,
everyone's going to be
teenage one, but I'm too afraid.
Well, everyone's going to be catfishing everyone. Like everyone's catfishing everyone now.
I feel that it is kind of sad that people just feel the need to, have themselves vindicated all the time, and it's just like I don't give a. Like my social media is, my Instagram, I post my models and stuff like that. I've got Facebook, which I couldn't tell you the last thing I posted on fucking Facebook was like, I don't need it. The people that are in my life that I care, know what's going on in my life. Like I don't need a lot of anonymous likes and stuff like that. And it's
I, for instance, have no idea what he's doing in his life at all. Never speaks to me. Can't.
Shut up! I was playing Apex with you last night, you dickhead. Who's this twat talking about?
Oh,
I mean, like 27 group chats with him. Do you know what I mean?
It's fair.
Ignore
him, but yeah, he is in there.
Yeah. Just the more sort of niche I think an industry is, the more toxic it gets. 40k, like Warhammer's quite a toxic industry as well. It's a very, again, very, white sort of.
Very white dominated, this toxic industries, I might say. Like,
very.
You look at the data, it's young white male.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right. It doesn't like letting new people in. There's been a lot of controversy where, because Warhammer's quite. Right, I'm gonna have to delve into this.
Yeah, no, go for it. I'm interested.
Warhammer's quite an interesting. It's a very Warhammer 40,000. It's a gritty sci-fi science fiction story / tabletop game. It's really fascinating because, like, it's a tabletop game. So you buy miniatures, you build them, you paint them, you assemble them into armies, and you fight like other armies and stuff. And the miniatures that are out and the armies that you're currently fielding are geared by the storyline, by the books and, the magazine articles and all this sort of stuff like that. It's had the storyline's been going on sort of 25, 30 years. And like the good guys in it are called the Imperium of Man. I say the good guys, right? So the Imperium of Man, they're a giant... it's almost like a parody of Catholicism. So it was ran by like a god emperor who went across the stars and purged all the filthy Xenos heretics and united all these worlds under the banner of Imperium. He got nearly killed. He sits on a golden throne, where, and it's very fascist. It's like a real fucking parody of sort of. The sort of empires, the Galactic Federation you see in Star Wars and things like that. It's that like ramped up to 11. And unfortunately, some people don't miss the fact that it's parody and satire, so there are actually particularly factions around Europe. Spain is quite bad for it. A lot of the heavy right-wing fascist groups, are actually huge fans of Warhammer and particularly of the source material, particularly that army, because they feel it reflects the sort of the sort of militant history they were striving for like 70, 80 years ago. And there's been this huge hoo-ha about them, like they'll turn up to tournaments and stuff like that wearing stuff with like swastikas and things like this.
Oh, wow.
And then they've been banned for it, and then there's been this huge about should they ban, should they not be banned? Yeah, of course they should be fucking banned. But it's just like how even something like So there's quite that toxic level of sort of it attracts like the wrong kind of thing. But then on like a broader sense of the spectrum, it's very insular. It doesn't like welcoming new people. It particularly like an argument I've had with somebody, like the biggest race in Warhammer 40k, the most popular one is called they're Space Marines, and they're just, you know, every kid's fucking fantasy. They're like Spartans from Halo on crack. Like
Fair
they're
enough.
like 9 foot tall. They wear armor that's better than tanks. They can run 100 miles an hour. They've got loads of new organs. They've got machine guns that fire grenades bigger than cans of Monster. You know, they're just like super hard. And like people have been asking for years about like female versions. Can we get like female versions of Space Marines? And they introduced something that's quite similar, but not the same at all, called the Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
And they look quite similar in that they're women in armor, but they're like religious zealots, and their best units are like they wear nothing but bandages and whip themselves into a frenzy to attack their enemies. And it's just like, come on, guys, like you're taking the piss a little bit there, aren't you? It's not exactly gonna like. I feel like female Space Marines would bring like some female players into the fold.
Yeah.
I feel like half naked women that run screaming, whipping themselves into a frenzy because it's a teenage boy's power fantasy. Like, probably not so much, you know.
Yeah.
But then the fandom gets really, really arsy about the idea of like female Space Marines, and I'm just like, I don't understand why these genetically altered things have to be men. Like, is it that big a deal? Like, what's the it's too woke, it's too woke. What, just having a few female Space Marines is an issue?
They're in
Like,
power armor,
is
aren't
it,
they? Does it
yeah,
make a
is
fucking
it,
difference?
yeah, is it really? Like, I don't understand.
That's what people are like. People, unfortunately, they get a mindset, and especially, I hate to sound like a
This is how it's always been. Well, that's
Yeah.
not how it potentially should be,
Yeah.
is it?
Unfortunately, this is how it's always been. Doesn't grow any medium.
Mm.
So you should be prepared to change and add and identify that there can be other things. Maybe make a whole platoon out of female Space Marines because they were so sick to death of the fucking male patriarchy.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Adding,
It's a storyline.
adding
So
something new, like adding something new, provided you didn't remove something existing to make way for it. Like, what's the problem with that? You know what
you
I
don't
mean? That
sell
just
them, you don't have
means,
to do it, yeah.
yeah, that just means there's more options and there's potentially more people that, as I said earlier, can get into that thing you love, which at the end of the day is just a benefit to you, because then they're all looking at you and going, "Oh, teach me the ways," and you go, "Ha ha, yes, young Padawan, I'll teach you to paint because I'm the man." You know,
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad.
Yeah.
Like
It's crazy.
it's like very much stuck in a rudimentary 1950s old backward way of thinking. Like, whatever happened to adapt, to survive and thrive, right? Push boundaries, you know, ask questions, push boundaries, and make way for new, exciting, and potentially uplifting content, stories, you know. But yeah, like it's mad, isn't it?
but you get these days, don't you? Anything that's got you know, like somebody LGBTQ in it, or you know, someone with
Oh,
a
yeah.
woman as the main character, it just instantly online explodes. Right, it's woke, it's woke, it's woke, it's woke. Oh, just shut the fuck up,
Well, this
please.
brings me all the way
Like-
around to the toxicity that comes from the Star Wars fans, because we all love Star Wars.
Oh,
and
here we
Star Wars
go.
must be
Yeah.
fucking
The Star Wars fans gonna rant about Star Wars fans.
really am, 'cause I'm fucking weird. But my big problem with the Star Wars fans is they rant about a movie that came out in the 70s, which they probably weren't alive to see. I know I weren't alive to see. Right, and it was
No.
made for kids and adults to enjoy as a sci-fi. What do they call it? Not soap opera, space opera.
That is opera.
Um,
Yeah.
And it was great. Like, you know, if you go back and watch the first film now, you'll see a lot of flaws in it, because there's a lot of flaws in it. You know, don't get me wrong. Empire still completely untouchable. Don't touch it. It's amazing. Jedi, very, very good.
Agreed.
But when they did the prequels, everyone moaned because it went a more political story, which fair enough. I guess now that you're older, you don't want to hear about politics story. Unfortunately, what I will say is Star Wars, every generation, including the latest one, is made for new fans to come in and enjoy, especially under the House of Mouse. House of Mouse is more or less about getting children addicted to your product,
Yeah.
so that as they
Then
get
you're a
money,
fan for life.
yeah,
Because
That-
Disney
well,
ain't
then
going
more.
anywhere.
Exactly.
Disney
They
ain't going
already
anywhere.
have like 4, 5, and 6 already had its core audience that
Yes.
are now tied in. They're attached to the franchise.
I'm tied in.
Exactly. Now, so 1, 2, and 3 are like they're not for 4, 5, and 6 fans. They're for this new generation. We spoke about it with like remakes and everything. It's
Yes.
like when they leave enough time, like Final Fantasy 7, or well, once you leave enough time for something, it's like it's not for the original people. It's for the new
There will
people.
always be homage
Yes,
for
and but
the
and
old
It's
potentially
playing the delicate balance, isn't it, of
Yeah.
doing enough to keep your OGs
You-
like placated,
Yes.
and then
Well, you want
get new
in
people
in a sense you want the OGs.
You need your
let's
audience to grow, don't
yeah.
you?
Well, you want the OGs to pass on their nostalgic like to their children. Like I was saying, like with myself, with my daughter, like it's like I love like showing my daughter the things that I loved when I was, like, oh, let's watch the Goonies and other bits and pieces, like amazing stories, and trying to make her a not force her to be a fan, but trying to get her interested in the things that I was
Dear her.
interested. Yeah, exactly.
Dear
And like,
her.
I mean, I haven't been able to do it with Star Wars yet. I mean, I'm nowhere near the level of fandom as what you are, Jay, with Star Wars. But I do love Star Wars. Star Wars is great. But yeah, it's just I think I might be flogging a dead horse with that one. My daughter's not interested in space stuff. So but
Sometimes they're not.
it would be great to be able to, and that's what I kind of feel. And also, it's interesting you bring up Star Wars because obviously they just also released. I don't know too much
it was
about
Star
it.
Wars Celebration last weekend.
Well, the whole story of Rey, right? They're going to bring out a new story
doubling down
involving
on Rey.
involving Rey, which is interesting that we spoke about Warhammer 40k as well being a very much a white male dominated.
I did plan this shit,
Well, you didn't even bring up Warhammer, so you didn't plan
but
anything, Jay. Shut up.
Plan around
this
it.
is Rich. Rich brought this up, so you shush.
I just shimmy to whatever you make me shake to.
So yeah, it's like Rey is obviously the new, like, it is potentially designed to bring females into a very much male dominated
and they have,
genre,
by the way.
Or
as much as you don't
medium.
like it, Star Wars fans, there's a lot of little girls out there dressing like Rey and absolutely loving the fact.
Oh,
that
Rich
power
had
of
a story
Jedi.
when he walked out of the cinema, and there were two little girls like doing backflips, pretending to be Rey, or maybe not backflips. That might have been too extreme. But the
jumping around, swinging an imaginary lightsaber.
Because Rey isn't for Rich. Rey is for those two little girls. Rey is potentially to pull my daughter into being a Star Wars fan.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Also, kids, let people enjoy things. It doesn't hurt you if they enjoy it and you don't like it, because a lot of toxicity comes from you like that thing I don't like.
Yeah.
Then you're stupid. You are. Why?
Yeah.
You're not the same person.
They're not going to. They're not going to. We've already assumed they're not going to answer why. They're just going to keep hurling insults at you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, we've got friends that take it almost like as a personal affront if you don't really like something that they do, and they're just like, it's just like, well, I'm not saying it's not good. I don't like it. That's all there is to it. We all like. Yeah, particularly
100% of people, 100% of the time.
We like a lot of the same stuff, but then I'm not playing Star Citizen ever.
No, same.
Neither am I.
Me and you are tied on that one, Rich.
Yeah.
It's like I've always said that. I love the fact that people like different things because it means that it gives us so much choice. If everyone liked the same thing, what a boring palette we would have, because it would be just the same shit all the time. But the fact we like all different things gives us such a wealth of medium, to read,
discuss
to watch, to discuss, to play.
Also, the sheer enjoyment of just trying to tell someone about something you love, and get them to see if they're even slightly interested in it.
Yeah, my honestly, my favorite thing in all of life, all of existence, is when everyone has that one specific niche thing that they know more than anyone else about, that they're super passionate about, that they absolutely love. And I love it when you need to know something about that particular field, and you say to them, you go, right, I need to know about this, and the story always starts with, all right, so listen, right. And then you just know, you can see the glaze go in their eye, and you know you're about to get like an information dump from somebody super passionate about something, and it's awesome to see, you know.
Jay's going to love this, because I've got to say, it's like your Star Wars moment, you know, like at the start of the Star Wars films, where it comes up and the reel comes up in a galaxy far, far away. And you're like, I get to do my monologue. And your monologue's going to roll.
That's it. You know, it's just like, I love being the person that gets to deliver those. I love witnessing them in other people. Like, it's one of my we were talking last night, weren't we, about like someone telling me like I was life coach of the year apparently. And because it's just like, I love it. I love seeing that passion in people, you know. Like, go to Jay, I'll be like, oh, I need to know about this like specific nerdy thing in Star Wars, and Jay's like, I'll just sit there and listen for 10 minutes with this shit eating.
You're seeing someone like, you know, genuinely be happy. Because when you're talking about something that they love and that they have such a connection with, like, for them to discuss it, like you say, and they get that glint in their eye, you understand, because we all have that thing, and you understand how they're feeling at that moment, because you know, if you were talking about the thing that you love, that's how you would be feeling. So you're kind of like, you feed off of them as well because of it. It's such a cool thing.
So many people outside of JB's have caught me drunk and said, Jay, I hear you like Final Fantasy VII. And I go, yep, come with me.
Yeah.
And I will sit them down.
Take them down an alleyway?
Hours.
What do you do, you weirdo?
Just tell them everything. What I was going to say about Rich was, what I love about Rich sometimes is you'll ask him a question, he'll go, right, so do you want this far back?
How much time you got?
Do you want the layman's versions, or do you want it all? I always remember the first time in my last retail, when I went for the management assessment, and I went, and there was two other people from the store, and there was like, I was sat here, it was like a big set of U-turn thing, I was sat here, one was sat there and one was sat there, from our store, and it was all full. There was like 20 people in there, I think, and we all had to do all these, like, you know, ridiculous sort of executive questions, like, where, you know, a load of people are buried in a cave, like, this is everyone's backstory, you can only save one to start with, you just save where, and all this stuff. And the last thing was, you had to do a 10-minute presentation on any topic you wanted whatsoever. I can see TJ smiling. Yeah, man. I was like, you already know where this is going down. Yeah. And like, I saw that, and I was instantly like, right, I'm doing, my topic is on comic books aren't just for children. And like, you know, we're going through, and as we're going through the sort of assessment thing, like, one of the guys was like, Rich, what's your topic? And I told him, and he just smiles. And like, you know, we get to it, and we get to the assessments, and like, we're going around the table, and we get to the geezer next to me, and he's done. And then it's like, right, Richard, it's your go. And the two guys from my store both turned to both the people in their aisles and was like, watch this, like, you're in for a fucking treat here. Because it was, again, like you say, it was something that I'm genuinely super passionate about. And by the end of it, like, after I left, 3 separate people came up to me and was like, I kind of like these sorts of mediums. Is there anything you could potentially recommend me to read? Because, like, I'm quite interested from that. I'm like, yeah, man, that's fucking brilliant. You know, I don't even care if I've done my job. If I get the job, you know, if I get the promotion, like, I've done my job there, you know.
I got 3 people interested in something that they may never have
because like you say, I'm a huge believer. The more people, it's why. Like, our friend Jack always calls me a crack dealer, because I'm always like, check this out, check this out, check this out, check this out, check this out. Just because the more people I've got to talk about something that's awesome, well, the better in it.
Yeah,
you know, why would I not want someone else to be into something I enjoy?
Which clearly states why you don't like gatekeeping.
Yeah,
that's literally exactly what I was going to say, bringing it right back to your comic book story, you know, and why that person was a fucking tool.
Yeah. There's just like no need for it, man. You know, as I say, like it. I said earlier, the fact that I can go home and I can speak to my mother about, you know, like, Green Arrow, about Firefly, you know, the bad guy, about she now wants to read Sandman because she's watched the Netflix thing, and she's like, holy shit, this is like, you know, this isn't like comic book stuff. And I'm like, I know, I've been telling you this for a decade. So it's like, Oh, here you go, crack on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's it. That's almost the problem I find that comes back to toxicity is I don't understand why I have such a like to be part of communities where you're all meant to be interested in the same thing and see such toxic attitudes. So I mean, I'm part of a Resident Evil thing, just to bring it back to Resident Evil, and some people like 5 and 6. I don't. I don't personally. I won't lie to you. They're not my favorite. I think it's not a bad game, but as a Resident Evil game, no, not really for me. And when you see people go, "Oh, I really like 5 and 6," the amount of hatred that they get from a group of fans, they're all interested about the same thing. And I find it crazy that you would belittle someone who's interested in something you're into instead of just going like, "Oh, well,
Why?
I don't really like those
Yeah.
games. Like, I didn't see any horror elements, which is my issue with them. I understand them as good games or as a solid co-op game or whatever you want to call them, but out and out just going, well, you're a fucking dickhead, aren't you?
What
It's
like?
just
It's a perfect opportunity to open discourse and be like,
yeah,
oh, you like 5 and 6. I'm not a massive fan. Like, what exactly is it about 5 and 6 that you like? You know, and you can have an open and honest discourse with someone. You don't need to call them an arse, like, or fucking
exactly.
stupid or whatever. Just be like, yeah. Do you mind telling me what you like about him? And they might have
explain.
Yeah, they might come across and like very articulately like tell you why and what it is about it, and it make you think, oh, actually, maybe I need to play that again and give
Maybe I
it a
need
second.
to do it again. Maybe I'd give it a better go. I don't know.
Maybe I didn't give it a fair crack of the whip. You know, like I just
all speaking to someone with a differing opinion of you. There's two potential outcomes from that. You will either learn something new.
Yeah.
Or you will reinforce your existing opinion. There is no downside. There is no downside to having an intelligent, rational discourse with somebody on an opposing point of view. Like, weirdly, the only community I've mentioned in previous podcasts, like both Star Wars and Pokemon, are very, very toxic, angry communities. Weirdly, I think one of the reasons why I got into miniature painting as much as I did is because that from my experience in the sort of 2.5, 3 years I've been into it now, is the least toxic community I've ever seen, which is weird because it's the one that has the most potential to be hurtful. Because like on Instagram and stuff like that, it's a lot of people that are putting time, effort, and to work into something, and you could absolutely crush a 10-year-old, couldn't you? Well, that shit
looks
kid,
crap.
You know, and I look back at some of my earlier stuff, and like I've never once had anybody, even the stuff that I look at now and I think is objectively bad, I've never had anybody come on there and say that is objectively bad. I like what you've done here. I think the colour choice is nice. Your technique might be a bit off. Maybe try doing this. Maybe try that.
Yeah, giving you
that's
help,
awesome.
Help. Like you know, that's
advise someone.
Yeah, that to me is. That's not toxic. That's constructive criticism, which is. But then weirdly, somebody once asked me for advice. Somebody that I started because I'll tell you, there's a few people I know that have been painting a very long time, and I haven't been painting as long as them. But I've painted in terms of hours probably a lot longer than them. So I've got better fast. You know, I don't want to be all like rah. I'm no golden demon winner. I'm a lot better than I was 2.5 years ago. You know,
you put the hours in.
Yeah,
exactly that. And some people can get a bit salty due to the sort of their perceived quickness in you know, they don't see the 10 hours I spent yesterday doing something, do they? You know, they just see the end result. And somebody I know, not massively well, not the one you're thinking of, Jay, somebody else, but they asked for some criticism. You know, is there anything I could do to make this sort of better? And I says, well, yeah, I you know, there's a couple of ideas. Like, I really like what you've done, your colour schemes out. You know, I'd maybe look at touching this, touching that, rare. And then they got really arsey with me and told me I was being toxic to them and being like an arsehole. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute, you asked me. You asked me to point out, and I haven't just pointed out the bad points. I pointed out the stuff that I think is really good and the stuff that is really good. And I think it's not a lot of work to make it a lot better. And I'm not saying that as somebody that's got all the skills in the world, because I don't. It just, I have a very good understanding of theory because I watch a million videos a day. You know, so I sort of understand the theory a lot better than I can put it into practice. So that's all I'm looking at it from, like, you know, a theory sort of point of view.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just, whereas I'm like, if you give me some sort of constructive criticism, I'm very welcome, because that to me is like growing. I do think sometimes people are a little too sensitive these days, and if you are even just trying to help somebody, well, you're having a go at me. No, I'm not. I'm just like, you asked me to help you improve, so I'm trying to help you improve. Please listen. You know, or
I mean,
alternatively, don't ask for my opinion.
Yeah. That's ultimately, yeah.
Mm.
you can optionally just delete this message and pretend that you never asked it.
It's
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
Karen.
all I was going to say, my last point, all I was going to say was, like, everything I've ever posted on Instagram, I've posted with the expectation that somebody could go on there and go, that is absolute shit. Because anything you put in the public medium, you
open yourself up, don't you, for the potential.
You said, criticize me.
Yeah,
You said when you put it up there, you went, criticize me.
But
right?
very, very
Criticism can be both ways.
wholesome, welcoming community. You know, like I did a bust, the first bust I ever did. Some geezer who owns a studio, like, took time out of his day to, like, message me and go, this is a huge step up from everything you've done before. Like, I'm going to be watching you, you know. And I'm like, oh man, that's really supportive, and that's really kind of cool. You know, that to me is that's what communities are for. We're here to build each other up, not to tear each other down.
Well, it's a healthy community, which is what you all want to be part of, right? Like, I mean, so, like, obviously, I'm part of a very non-healthy community at this current moment in time, within the DVD community, which this podcast, like the DVD,
see our message group guys,
the DVD community, like, if you want to go down a dark road of people just like, like, I love the game. And I class myself as quite fortunate that I don't really get much toxicity through. I don't play the game off stream, as we've spoken about, like, because I have family and bits and pieces. I play the game, and I don't tend to get that many people coming in and giving me grief. But I don't play. I'm not one of these people that is like win at all costs. I like to win, like, playing Killer Survivor. Don't really care, like, but it doesn't bother me. However it goes. But there's just this whole thing about, like, play styles, and I was saying to, like, Jay earlier, and on my stream on Monday, about how, like, I feel that, like, the intimacy of a game like DBD, where it's like a small player base in each game's 5 people, you know, and they're and the way the game is set out. Like, when you have, like, an Apex, which is 60 people, and it's so frantic and thingy, and, like, you get the third party stuff going on and everything. So it's just like, oh, fuck, I've lost. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And, like, you don't, like, have the kill cam and all stuff and whatnot. And
no, I agree, because arenas, that's why I like arenas so much in Apex, because
it's
again,
more intimate, isn't it? Like, and I feel like
it's me versus you, basically.
And that's I think where people's animosity comes from. It's like, they say, like, you've killed me, like, you personally have killed me, you've gone out of your way to kill me, but that's my objective. Like, me to kill you, whereas, like, obviously in, like, Apex, it's like 57 other people trying to kill you, essentially.
Yes.
You know,
in a battle royale situation.
Yes. Sorry. I'm talking in the greater scheme of it. But, like, and it bleeds onto Twitter and social media and, like, YouTube videos and everything. Just like, people just I don't know. Like, it's just every opinion someone has. Like, there is, they get drowned out straight away. It's so harsh, so aggressive, and it starts off as into people just nitpicking at points, but then, like you say, it quickly dissolves into, like, racial, like, religion, sexuality, like, anything that someone can pick. You know, like, this whole. I'll just use an example. The latest. Like, DBD brought out its first, announced one of its original characters as being gay. That got a fuck ton of backlash. Then now you've got they're
fictional, folks. They're fictional.
Well, a killer which kind of, like, it's never been said that she's part of the, like, LGBT trans community, but they've kind of taken to this character. That community has taken to this character, and it's just created, like, this whole, I don't know.
Let
like
people like things.
Yeah, it's just
let people like.
But and it
things.
goes into so like moving away from like DBD into like things with that in mind though. Like this whole shit that's just hit the fan with Bud Light, with Anheuser-Busch, I think it is, who are the company that own Budweiser. And obviously this big thing in America that you see all over TikTok at the moment, people that have been saying, I've been drinking Bud Light for 20 years. And now because Bud Light have done a promotional thing with, Mulrooney, can't think of the person's name, who's a transgender woman.
Right.
Because they've done this whole and her face is on now cans, like the right in America, they're like, I'm never drinking this anymore, pouring it down the drain, drinking fucking Miller or Coors Light or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, it's just,
man, you're drinking a light beer, you're near enough there already, you know what I mean?
but like, what does
I'd like to say I drink Bud Light, and I will continue to drink Bud Light because
but no, my point
I like
is,
to drink beer without getting pissed.
But no, my point is, like, what the fuck does it matter? Like, you obviously enjoy the drink because you've been drinking it, like you've just said, for 20 years. What the fuck does it matter who's on the can?
Mr. Marketing Trick should have been on transmission fluids, not blood light.
It turns out as well, I didn't know this. I didn't know this, but apparently there's this thing in America. It's like where it's like an ethics and it's got an actual like abbreviated name, but I can't think what it is. What the letters
they
are.
love their acronyms, don't they, man?
Well, what it is, it's pretty much companies are penalised for not like supporting like all groups and across the board. So they're kind of like, in a way, they're kind of like forced in a sense, whether they want to or not. You know, even if you've got like this 90-year-old bigot who's the head of the company, you kind of like have to, otherwise you get penalties imposed. You don't get financial support from the government. So like, which is potentially why Bud have done this, you know, because it ticks the boxes they need to tick. But like that all like, but that gets taken.
There's nothing wrong with being inclusionary.
No, that's but my point is whether or not they've done it for that reason or not. It's like it doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't affect the product. No,
like it doesn't.
Is the beer changed?
They're not fucking getting. They're not getting this person to now piss in every fucking can her face is on. Like, you're still drinking the same products. You're still eating the same food. You're still wearing the same clothing line. You're still. Like, what does it matter if they do an ad campaign with LeBron James or Caitlyn fucking Jenner? Like, what difference is that honestly going to make to your life?
Any person whose life got affected by them is that person.
Well, yeah, because they're gonna get a nice little wedge of money. You know,
I just don't get people anymore.
No.
You know?
Well, I mean, I think in relation to just public tweets and things just being thing, I think Ricky Gervais put it best. He goes, going on Twitter and putting anything is like going out there for an advert for guitar lessons and someone going, I want to learn guitar. I want to learn fucking drums.
Why are you answering the fucking advert?
Yeah.
What has A got to do with B?
Well, go learn drums then.
Go find a drums post.
Yeah, it's fucking insane, man.
It's always made me laugh. I was like, he's right.
People just seem to like have to be outraged about something all the time.
But
not saying though that there isn't a lot to be outraged about.
I'm not saying that you can't have outrage. It's just, like I say, going to a guitar post and shouting you want to learn drums is insanity.
What you should be more pissed off about is the fact that the 6-pack of Bud Light now probably cost you $3 more than what it did a year ago.
True.
Not who the fuck's on the can. That's what you should probably be pissed about.
Exactly. But they've covered that by going, look, there's a transgender on the can. Are you annoyed?
This is what I was saying to someone the other day at work, actually. Like, do you remember the big hoo-ha a couple of years ago when they were talking about making a European Super League, and a load of the big football clubs were on about leaving it, and there was like riots and there was protests and there was people burning their season tickets. And it's just like, oh my God, people standing up for themselves. This is fucking awesome. And then, like, 6 months later, the nurses don't get a pay rise after we've just been through COVID and nobody bats an eyelid. And it's like, well, why did you give so much of a shit about that, but not this? Like, it baffles me, man.
It's like, go back even further, something like even bigger in a sense. 9/11, right? like you listen to all the podcasts and everything that happened after 9/11 and everything and that, and you listen to people speak about how it brought people together. That one incident, like what is that? One incident, it's a fucking massive incident, but like it made people realize just how,
Honourable.
no, like how fleeting life is, and
Yeah.
like it kind of people pushed things aside and were like accepted everyone for everyone in a sense, especially in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years past, people forget about it, and now it's everyone fucking hates everyone again. You know,
I mean,
and I also think that.
Might I remind you, COVID was but a year ago.
Yeah,
But then-
Everyone
but
didn't
then-
touch or see anyone for a bit.
But then
Now
COVID,
everyone's an arsehole again.
yeah. But I think COVID was always going to do that to people because COVID drew a wedge between people. Like you've got people that whatever your feelings or thoughts are, you had people who were still going to work, i.e. your shopkeepers. I still worked.
I still work.
As I don't know if you two
Rich
got, well, there you
still
go.
work.
You still work, right? But then, so you guys were still at work. Obviously, Rich, if you were in retail, very much like I pretty much was working by myself out fucking cutting grass. I ain't catching COVID unless it's from a bumblebee. Rich is more like on the front line.
Have you been?
Yeah, exactly. But
I didn't have a fun time.
no, but then you also had the people that were able to be at home, and I mean that comes with its own mental struggles, and that being at home all day, not being able to leave your house, and that. But then you had people resenting the people that, well, he's not fucking going, he's just fucking sitting at home watching movies, watching Netflix, getting 70% or whatever, getting all this thingy and everything, and now it's had the knock-on effect that 70% was always going to need to be paid back, so tax increases and everything.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, my taxes are higher because you fucking sat on your ass watching Netflix all day. And it's like, I always saw this coming.
Conversely, though, we also in retail, we also had all the people that come in and just be like, well, it's all right for you. You still get to go to work. I'm stuck at home. And like, we were all like, I'll trade you in a heartbeat. I want to go and sit at home and be paid 80% because I'm dealing with 1,000% she'll play carries a day. Weird, like on both of those things, like two very quick points. One is, COVID had a very segregating effect. But the more I think about it, there was something like, it was kind of cool to see how people kind of evolved a little bit when they didn't have to go to the grind. So the amount of people that picked up new skills and learned new things and read new books was actually quite interesting to see how people will better themselves when they haven't got a relentless grind to deal with. Like that was probably the one sort of thing I think positive thing you can take out of COVID.
I've got something cool that I need to bring up to you after with this point in mind, but carry on, Rich.
Yeah, and then the second point, just very quickly, do you know the closest I have ever seen to entire and complete world peace in my entire life was the first month that Pokemon Go was out. I shit you not. No, tell me I'm wrong.
That's
tell
cool.
me,
You're right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
The
Like,
police didn't like it, did they? No, what are you fucking at?
Yeah.
I'm out getting my daily exercise playing Pokemon Go.
That was one of the most single unifying moments of my entire life because, like, it didn't matter what time at night I went out or where I went on the street, there was someone there from any age range fucking with glued to their phone going, there's an Onyx over there. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like it was wonderful for a month. It was almost like there was no division whatsoever in society. Everybody was just a Pokemon trainer just going off looking for Pokemon. It was fucking amazing, man. Like honestly, that is one of like my favorite times of my life. Because like Pokemon's something we all know I'm super passionate about. I've always been really into, and it's almost like the entire world, just for this brief snippet of time, saw the appeal in something that I love so much. And everybody, like my phone went like 30 times a day. You know, do you want to come?
People trying to trade and
spot. I've heard this is a good spot. What's this Pokemon like? Is this Pokemon worth catching? Shouldn't trade for it. You know what I mean? It was incredible, man. Seriously, that was such like. You know, you go to the Priory in Dudley, we had a place where you could go and stand and there was like 9 Pokestops you could hit without moving. And you'd go there and you could go there at 2 PM and there'd be like 600 people there. Or you could go in after work at 4 AM and there'd be 600 people there. You know, it was just always rammed full of people. And you'd go there and people would whap out a chair. Like you'd go in the middle of the night and someone would whap out a chair for you. Someone would drop a raid as you sat down. Someone would they'd have like a little stove and someone would give you a coffee. Do you know,
Oh,
honestly,
nice.
like I cannot stress just how magical and like beautiful that was. And I wish sort of every fandom was that sort of welcoming and inclusive and that wholesome. It was awesome, you know.
Sadly, it didn't last very long because
No.
Yeah, a lot. Look at the good shit that came out of that as well. Look at the amount of dogs that got walked because people felt like, you know, because you were talking about earlier, people get like sort of nerd shame a little bit, you know. So people might have wanted to go for a 6 hour walk trying to find some Pokemon, but be a bit embarrassed being a 40-year-old having their phone. So people were going to dog shelters and just going, "Yo, can I like take this? Can I take one of your dogs for a walk? You know, while I go and catch some Pokemon?" And then they bring the dog back and they go, "You ain't having the dog back because like we had some fun and caught some Pokemon together, so this is now my dog." You know what I mean? Yeah, like adoptions went through the roof. You know, there was like all kinds of really cool stuff came out of it. I am genuinely sad that was just such a big worldwide phenomena for such a small period of time because I honestly think it was really good for the world.
never been recapped.
At the time, but then now the ramifications of after the people like with the like anti-vaccine shit and all the other stuff and like it's the pandemic and all this other crap, you know, it like it's gone from there at the stage you were at to now just being like
Would you say the world then during COVID got a little bit more toxic? There's a lot more people online, a lot more people getting angry at other people having to go to
I
work.
think I think there was a very much unifying thing for, so most of the people, I was about to say most of the people bought into it like it was a pandemic, but no. Most of the people bought into the we're in this together situation. Yeah. I think most people, you were always going to have those people. And I mean, it's one of the reasons. So I have Facebook. The only reason I have Facebook is for Marketplace. I do not go on there. Someone got me to look up when my last post was. My last post was, I believe it was October 2021. Was the last time I put anything on Facebook. I just don't like, you know, this whole thing got me off of Facebook because you had everyone on there going, "Oh, look at all these fucking sheep and that getting their vaccine." Fuck off! I don't care about you, bollocks, whatever, you know. But I think for the most part, people felt like they were in this together. Like the Thursday night, I don't know if you did it where you are like the 8 p.m. clap the NHS. Right, go and stand outside your front door.
We did it for a bit, I think.
There was good. You had people pots and pans banging their pots and pans, and
the first time was nice, but then it became like it's my whole sort of thing with almost the poppy thing. Sometimes is just like my poppy's bigger than yours. It was just like, well, I clap louder than you, you know.
Well, we never really had that here. It was, but like the street that I'm on, like it's a main road, but you have people going out in their driveways and bringing. You have cars going past, beeping their horns and stuff and everything, which was cool. So I think. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say this might ruffle some feathers here though. My other problem with that though was I feel like it was. I see this quite a lot, whereas I feel like it's a complete empty gesture to make people sort of feel better because when the time came, everyone was all well and good to go out and clap and do this, that and the other. But then when it came out that the politicians were getting an 11% pay rise and the nurses and the doctors were getting like 0.5% or 1%, whatever, nobody did anything because everyone already felt like they'd done their bit by going and clapping. You know, and it's just like stuff like that. It's kind of like I think the idea is good, but I think you know, I think people feel that they I think people feel like their job's done. Then when I don't feel that, you know, like, oh, that's it, I've done my bit, not necessarily, you know. Whereas I feel like if everybody went and did that every Thursday, that pay rise thing came out. Well, people might have actually took up and noticed and paid some difference, you know. But again, people have already done the bit, you know. It's just my.
But it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's what can you, like, at what, like, where that's concerned, like, what a lot of people would be like, well, what can I actually do? Like,
look at the French.
I don't know what the French have done.
Have you not seen France at the minute?
I tell you, another thing that COVID made me do was turn off the news, turn off the news that I don't like that I don't vibe with, if you would. Like the
Well,
things that interest me, the rest of the stuff, because the world is just a fucking harrowing
Yeah,
place to be a part of at the moment. So
it's quite interesting, and I think it's one of the reasons why TikTok's being so grilled in America at the moment, because like this is quite an interesting experiment actually. If you go onto Instagram and type in France, you go onto TikTok and type in France, you are going to get two very, very different stories of countries at the moment. Like Instagram will show France, you know, as you picture France. TikTok will show you
no,
what's
there's
going on at the
riots and stuff
moment.
going on. I have
France
actually
is, 'cause
seen
they've
some
raised
riot shit. Yeah.
yeah, they've raised the retirement age in France. And
Sorry,
like,
they've
the
raised the
guy,
what? I missed that. You crackled.
the retirement age.
Right, okay.
And the guy, the president that's done it, has forced it through Parliament without like there's nobody's voted, this, that, and the other. And the French ain't having it. So the French, like, it's everyone in England, we all take the piss as the French as being like, you know, surrender monkeys and all this, that, and the other. But when shit comes to shovel and your government tries and fucks with you in France, the French don't stand for it. So like France has just like stopped. Like it's ground from a halt. Like energy companies have been like diverting energy away from the billionaires and the companies, and they're giving it to like poor people for free. Like all the, you know, rubbish hasn't been collected in Paris for sort of like a month and a half now.
Sounds
You know,
like Paris.
I was going to say Paris is a shithole anyway, isn't
it? The firemen and the, you know, the police are now like, you know, alongside the protesters and all this. That like the French are literally 2 weeks away from guillotining the fucking government at the moment.
Is it still Macron in charge in France? Is it still him, or is it someone else now?
No, I think it's somebody else. I'm not entirely too sure who. I just know it's all going absolutely nuts at the moment.
Okay.
Which is again is very interesting to see how the various social media platforms are portraying it. You know, you go into the vast majority of them, and it's just like there's no mention of it whatsoever.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't go on Instagram that much. Like Facebook, I don't go on Instagram. I very rarely go on TikTok. You know, because it's such mindless.
ADD the app.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm saying it's just like it's mindless and it's mindless quick videos. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know, but actually bringing in, I was going to bring up a point when you were talking about shit. You about people when they didn't have the grind. What was it? When they didn't have the grind, they express themselves and learn new things and stuff. Ways to do That's things. It. Okay, that ties in quite well with the France thing, actually, with what I was going to bring up, which I said was, how do you guys? And I know we're going a little bit off topic, but you would, you know,
I'll pull it back.
What we do. It's what we do. Yeah. How do you guys feel about UBI then? Like universal basic income, like the ability, like give everyone say everyone in the UK gets enough money to survive. So to pay rent or whatever, say like it's a lump sum of like 10 grand a year. Every single person gets 10 grand a year, and it's a social experiment thing, which they've talked. I listened to a lot of podcasts with it on and everything, and they've kind of tried it in other like the Scandinavian countries and bits and pieces. And the idea is like without the pressure of having to grind, like people can take up like the other things flourish. People still do go to work because their reason for earning isn't to survive, it's to then be able to express themselves. Their earnings are there to be able to do things, to express themselves, to go on holiday. It makes like people happier in general because, like I say, that worry is taken away. There have done studies in America about how much it would actually cost, where the money would come from, and it's actually potentially doable. With certain...
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, like I would need to go more into a deep dive, but just the premise of it, if it was possible, like the thought process is what it would open, and the abilities it would give people, and the freedoms that it would give people. You would still need to work because it's not enough money. It's enough money to pay your mortgage and eat, but you couldn't do fuck all else. You've still got to work, you know, in essence.
But you wouldn't have to work, say, 45 hours a week. You could work maybe 2 days a week.
Yeah, there's less pressure on people.
It wouldn't even be that. It'd be exactly what TJ said. It'd be the fact that
depending on what lifestyle you want. I'm not
living a depressed life, sitting there thinking,
but
I've got to do this.
There is no... But it would mean benefits and stuff because everyone's getting 10 grand. Like your like benefits for certain things would no longer exist because
such as
I can't remember what they went in because it was the
So,
American
for
thing.
instance,
So it's this was more from like an American podcast I was listening to. So they're talking.
okay.
So it's what they were
I've got a lot to
suggesting
say on this.
from
Well, I'm
their.
just gonna
Yeah,
throw
we're
this
gonna.
point in just because I do want to know how it would affect handicapped people.
No, yeah, obviously, like if your ability to work and everything would still, like, you know, if you couldn't work, it was more like the benefits of, like your housing benefit and that would like you don't need housing benefit anymore because you're given enough
You're
money
being paid
as a
money.
as a
Yeah.
lump sum. It wouldn't be a lump sum; it'd be a monthly sum you'd be given, but it is a
Mm.
lump sum essentially just spread over the year.
Mm.
So yeah, no, obviously, if you can't work because you're in a fucking you're a paraplegic or something, then obviously, yeah, you would still get some kind of benefit. But they were more talking like 'cause I don't really know the American benefit system that well, so they were talking more about American benefits and stuff that obviously some would
The
obviously,
welfare.
yeah,
The
like I say, I
welfare.
don't know what the welfare covers in America compared to what are like payments cover.
I'd
But
only know
it
it
was
from TV shows.
yeah,
So
exactly.
That's
And
not
so
reliable.
I wouldn't really want to go too much into that because I don't know.
No.
But it was like a really interesting thought about like how it would as a society move people forward, like and make people like the
I think people are more productive.
yeah, that's the thing.
Mm.
It would be like they were saying that studies have shown
I mean, at
that
work and in
yeah,
all forms.
that when
they've been
people
more
don't have to worry so much,
Yeah.
like that those pressures are alleviated off of them, they are more productive. They are more free to express themselves. They're and then things like art, even technology and everything actually would benefit at a faster rate because people are actually more engaged in what they're doing, more than worrying about the shit that's on their back.
I'd like to think parents would get more time with their children that way as well,
Yeah.
which I think is really important for a child's development. And as a non-parent,
No, yeah,
myself.
100%. You're 100% right. What's your thoughts, Rich? Because like you see deep in thought here. And
Yeah, I've got like It's one of those where I feel like the theory of it is a very good theory, and there's
Yep.
a lot of tangible benefits. But I can't help but feel there's also the whole idea of it. There's a very sinister sort of undercurrent to it, because in my head will become intrinsically tied with things like CDCs, like central digital currencies, and social credit scores, which is like I know something they've trialed in China. So yeah, something I've spoke about before. So there's like various places they've trialed universal basic income, and it's linked with an AI driven social credit score. And what that means is so say for instance. A guy, like probably the most famous example was a guy was caught jaywalking. So he's fucking the crossings up there, the road's clear, so he's just like forget it, I might as well
Nipped
just run
across the road.
across the road. As he runs across the road, one of the 8 billion CCTV cameras where on captured by every single day, takes his picture, notices that he's jaywalking, logs that he's technically done a crime, which then decreases his social credit score, which then means he gets less in his universal basic income. And I'm just worried that you're putting sort of more in control of.
yeah, so we become more of a robotic like kind of entity in the fact that if you don't live like rule of law becomes so much more prevalent.
That's exactly it, and it's like my big worry with the whole trend of, because like you look around and like a lot of the banking systems are having a great deal of trouble at the moment. It does look like we are heading towards a crash. Like if you follow some of the stock markets, there's been some very interesting stuff happening recently, and it does look like the world is going to move towards essential digital currency as opposed to cash at some point, and I'm not a big fan of that because the only person that benefits is the bank. So, for instance, if I've got 50 quid and I give Jay 50 quid for installing something into his, installing some aircon, give him a £50 note. Cool, it's worth 50 quid. There you go.
You had the best deal of your life for 50 quid.
I know, I was like, where's mine? Where's mine, Jay, you fucker?
But just as example, and then Jay goes and takes Kate out from Mel and pays 50 quid. Bam, there you go. Still worth 50 quid. Do you know, it doesn't matter how many times you spend that note, that £50, it's worth £50. Whereas, like, if I pay, say, Jay 50 quid on PayPal, Like PayPal takes £1.50 of that. So
It takes £1.50 if you're saying it's for services.
Yeah, friends and family. But the point is,
yeah,
the point is still the same. The point is,
but the point, you get my point. Yeah, so that's worth £47.
The transactional fees,
and then Jay spends that at the meal, but the meal's like 50 quid. So Jay's got to put £1.50 of his money, and then also the bank takes its £1.50 on the card money that you've taken as well. So it's now worth £46. Do you know? So 30 transactions down the line, it's
not worth anything. Yeah.
You know, and then also because of like a programmable currency, because it's programmable, then means you can program when it ends, which has also been trialed over in China. So you can't save money because it expires at the end of this month, so you've got to spend it. You know, if your economy ever needs a boom or something like that.
Whoa.
And then there's also the possibility of you can then dictate on what people can and can't spend their money on, isn't there? So that's my issue with it. I feel like, while on the one hand it's being touted in terms of like sort of freedom in the one aspect, will you also necessarily, you know, the idea of a universal income in terms of the way the world and governing now could potentially work and could be a very good thing, but with the way the world's necessarily heading, I feel that there's, I don't know, the systems it would necessarily be integrated in could.
Do you want me to phone you? What's up?
No.
Yeah.
Oh. The phone is the first device that we gave up our freedom for. We said we would pay money every month to tell people where we are at all points in time, listen to what I'm talking about so they can sell me things.
I say this to you all the time, Alexius. We all used to moan about wiretaps. Now we pay for them in a house.
Right. Exactly. Are we not looking at the, like, okay, we're taking China as any kind of example with the CCP. Are we not looking at the worst possible, like the Chinese Communist Party are renowned for, and
once again, we go off in China.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. I can see some of the points you're making, but I think to use China's, I don't know. China's such a difficult one because China's the extreme of the extreme that I don't ever know if we would ever get to that level. But I can understand where you're coming from in terms of certain bits and pieces. And
is that a sickle and hammer I see behind you, comrade?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
The thing is, there are various like the Trilateral Council, the World Economic Forum. They are all genuinely trying to, like, it's no secret, it's no conspiracy. That is the direction they are.
Yeah, no. I get. I didn't mean about the digital currency. I meant about the how.
The social credit score and stuff.
Yeah, those kind of things. It's just I can see that in as a Chinese thing. I can it's not too much of a stretch. Whereas I can't.
You do realise we've just banned laws that effectively allow them to arrest us for protesting in this country now, right?
Yes.
I don't follow.
But we are becoming
actually.
We do actually have a prime minister that not a single person in the country actually voted for as well. You know, I mean, technically he's an oligarch,
but
there are considerably more similarities.
Yeah,
and I think as we're sort of getting closer towards the thing, I think we are beginning to see the, particularly in the upper echelons, I realise we're all getting very tinfoil hatty here, but we are beginning to see
we get swatted now, I swear to God.
Yeah, but we're beginning to see less of the sort of traditional segregation that there's been, and a lot of the people that have been traditionally opposed. Their plans for, say, 2030, 2035 and stuff like that, they're all incredibly similar. No. So I just, my big worry, as I say, is I love the idea. I've always proposed the idea that you raise the minimum wage to £30 an hour, and everybody works 2 days a week instead of 5 days a week, and that way there's enough work so everybody can afford to have a job, and we're all spending that money because we've got more time to do what we want.
Well, it's the idea of capitalism, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have more, spend more. Keep the cycle going.
So just to quickly thingy, there is Finland is the only country to have carried out nationwide randomized controlled trial of UBI. The evaluation found out that people receiving basic income were more likely to be in work, than those who. The people that were in the control group were receiving basic income were more likely to be in work than those who were not. And then there's a whole fucking. I'll send you the thing, but it's a fucking whole massive article that breaks down like every aspect of it from like cost and implications, how it affects poverty, employment and work incentives, health benefits. So I'll send you that, but it's a long read, so I'm not going to go over it.
It always reminds me of Winter Soldier, to be honest, where Hydra explain how like they realized they couldn't wrestle control from the world. They could, however, convince them if you scare them enough to give it up freely.
That's kind of exactly it. People you tend to people have a tendency to trade freedom for safety.
Yeah.
And I don't think it makes you less safe.
I just want to say something. But something I saw today on TikTok. Would you believe? But apparently, it's actually like
where we get our news
true.
from.
This is the most reliable source of information on the internet.
But it's true. It is true. Mississippi.
Podcast.
Okay, so Mississippi, the governor of whoever the people of Mississippi have passed it through I don't know their fucking. Through the Senate, and I think it's got to go, or has it got to go to the Senate? It's passed through. Well, however, the fucking it's got like to bring back Jim Crow law.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
It's like the segregation. It's literally the segregation of black people. The allowed segregation of black people. It would mean
have we gone so far along that we've fallen back on?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, in America. So Jim Crow is like this, like a big thing back in the day. It was like the segregation of black people, like that they can't buy houses.
The rules
they can't
and regulations, wasn't it?
Literally, it was like they couldn't buy certain foods. They couldn't do like literally like Rosa Parks shit segregation type.
Just flush us down the toilet. For a wasted experiment, just fucking flush us down the toilet.
Very interesting fact. We've all seen Dumbo.
Yes.
You know the crows.
Yes.
Have a guess what the lead crow's name is.
Jim.
Yeah. Jim Crow.
I'm telling you, humanity, just flush it down the toilet. Just flush it all away. Let the earth continue.
Yeah. So
better will come down the line.
Very, very much in the idea of like communism. Sounds like a good idea on paper. It just doesn't work in practice. I feel the same with. I feel the premise of a universal basic income is quite a good one. I just feel that there's a lot of potential for a lot of manipulation and very nefarious means there.
Just to make the line, just to make the divide bigger.
Bigger.
So now we're all happy down here at the bottom because we're all content now.
Yeah.
But they're all rich up there, and we were never their problem anyway. But they did need to control us, and now they.
Well, it's the thing that gets me. The big ass enclosed city they're building in Saudi Arabia. Have you seen it called the Line?
Yeah,
it looks amazing, but
it does. But the thing that freaks me out with that is the fact that it's mirrored on the outside. And why is it mirrored on the outside?
So you can't see what's going on the inside.
It's because the people on the outside don't want to look in the ant farm. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
So, oh man, we went really tinfoil hatty on this.
So, just to give Jay,
the name of this episode is going to be Tinfoil Toxicity.
Yeah.
So Jay, just to give you a thing, in 2023, the Mississippi House passed a bill that would essentially resurrect Jim Crow. Now, the proposed law will head to the Senate, where Republicans also retain majority of power. Perhaps Mississippi will become the first state to openly reinstate Jim Crow, extracting black power in every form it can yet again. And then, if you go down the list of things, it's like, for instance, white children and black children will be educated separately. School.
Who'd have thought the 1920s had come that quickly round again? I'd say we've fallen 100 years behind.
Separate toilet facilities for whites and blacks, stuff like that. No person or corporation shall require any white female nurse to nurse in wards or rooms in hospitals, either public or private, in which black men are placed. These are some of the Jim Crow laws, right? Obviously, this is like the laws from the 1950s and 60s. Sorry, they were enforced until the 50s and 60s. The Jim Crow was like early 1900s. But obviously, there would probably amendments to these. But in essence, these are what the laws are. Yeah, just absolutely fucking ludicrous. And when you think, like, with the recency of the Roe v. Wade and the abortion laws and everything in America, it's like
it's gone feral,
fucking
like
hell,
absolute feral. It's just like
it's mad.
It's hard not to be so tinfoil hatty and silly. I suppose it's like it's no surprise everything's as toxic as it is, because it's almost we live in a completely toxic world these days.
It seeps down from the top, doesn't it? It all seeps down from the top. Toxicity just rolls down.
I tell you, and also, like, if you actually think about it, like the media that we consume, like what videos get the most views on like YouTube? It's like the Karen videos, or the like.
Gonna say
look
fails.
at this, and
or country ran into a wall.
Or even like fails. You're looking at someone, like, you know, and what do you do?
Themselves.
You want to no. You're there watching that with the idea of mocking them because they failed or something, you know, because their failure brings you joy. So, like, do you know what I mean? And like I say, so all the stuff that we're geared to what we're watching. So yeah, Rich is right. Like the whole thing is like just a toxic fucking hamster wheel that's just
It's interesting
we're self-propelling.
Interesting you should say that, because you can do this as an experiment. God, I really do sound it today, don't I? If you VPN your phone and you look at TikTok from China, TikTok has two vastly different algorithms. So if you look at it in the West, it's all the dumb shit. So it's all the dance trends and the thirst traps and all the people, the Karens.
It's all educational, isn't it, in China?
And this, in China, it's all educational, and it's people doing like sensational achievements, you know, doing amazing things. So it's used as like a tool for inspiration, whereas it's almost like it's used as a tool to, like I said earlier, like I'm not joking, TikTok is like, I'm as guilty of it as the next. ADD, the app. Like I've had to fucking.
It's that quick fix, isn't it?
I've had to delete it off my phone because it kills my ability to sit and watch even a 20-minute TV show, because I'm just like dopamine hit every 30 seconds. You know.
Ooh, what are they doing on Facebook? Same thing there was 5 seconds ago, Jay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Nothing new or interesting.
So, I mean, I've deleted it off. I've struggled. I've literally had to force myself to watch TV shows. I've deleted TikTok off my phone, and then the last week I've watched 11 new anime.
Like I say, well, it's like anything. Like you feel, going back to your point about, you know, the was it BMI? Was that
UBI, Universal Basic Income.
Yeah. UBI. So that, you know, it's like the stress relief of scrolling up now, isn't it? It's like you say, that dopamine hit. And spending time. I mean, I find that I've got no time, so I watch something while I play something, which is not conducive because I don't pay attention to either, and then I'm half on both. So, but like, because I feel the stress of time, then the idea of having that UBI sounds like, oh yeah, that'd be good, because then it alleviates some of my stress. However, if that did come in and it was off social standing, guys, this podcast alone puts us in pariah land. So
I might have to step aside, lads.
It's like the idea of it's great, but I just wonder about the cravats that it comes with. Like, you get a UVI, but then you can never vote.
I mean, I can't ever see it happening, because the old added argument of like, you're giving people something for nothing, which I think the higher ups will be very vehemently against, you know.
It depends. It depends on how much control.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, if it gives them a level of control over us, then maybe. Watch this space, people.
Because the UBI, it's almost, you think about it like a contract. Now, I scroll through every terms and conditions in the world and don't read them.
Don't bother reading them. Yeah.
So if a bloke came up to me and punched me square on the dick, and I went, "What the fuck was that for?"
You agreed to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your signature, mate. You said, yes, you can punch me in the dick at any given time that I feel like. And today You were walking past
Yeah,
me.
today I just
Today
fucking
is
I
that
woke
dick
up and
punching
went,
day.
that prick is having it.
Yeah. So what would stop them then? I mean, fuck me.
No, thank you.
Virgin Media, you know, they put my bill up every fucking whenever they fucking feel like, and go, yeah,
he do
another
the same, yeah.
£7. I know, yeah, but it's in your contract, isn't it? So you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucks me
Um,
off so much that you can sign a 2-year contract, but they've got fucking carte blanche to go. Price hike this month, mate.
Price hike, mate.
Yeah.
What it is? You want that 350 meg, don't you? Well,
350 meg. Fucking hell. Two TikTok videos. That's about it.
Yeah. So yeah. Like great idea, but
a
yeah,
lot
that
of
was
porn
the
in this house, PJ. A lot of porn.
Not on 350
was-
meg, there, right, mate? Gig, maybe, not meg.
Yeah, that was the one thing I found really inspiring on like Instagram, particularly Instagram, was just seeing all my friends and all the people I haven't seen for years just during the pandemic when they were stuck at home. People started knitting, people started crafting, people started reading. I started miniature painting, you know, all this. This is where me and Jay started playing Apex really quite heavily because it was a way for us to
streaming
communicate all the time. You know, so yeah, it was like it was a real fascinating insight to kind of what we could do if we all didn't have to just grind constantly, you know.
Like so, but that's the carrot, and like you said, I worry about the stick.
Yeah,
The carrot is you'll get more time, you'll get free time.
Yeah.
But then the contract changes and goes. But the thing is, to get this money that you like so much and gives you all your free time. Now, however, there's the clause that, like you said, you did sort of break the law when you crossed the road. I know you thought no one saw. But
you can have this money, but you've got to do exactly what I say.
Yeah.
And I just feel like all these emergent technologies that are coming out at the same time, like you say, the whole UBI, the social credit score, AI and stuff like that. There's just, you can see ways of linking them all together to create something that's very, very Orwellian.
Theoretical, but what if you have to catch the train and your social score is so low that they don't want you to catch the train because they see you as a threat? Now you can't get to work.
Yeah.
Now you're
going into Black Mirror now.
Well,
yeah.
I'm
No,
just
but
saying.
again,
There's that Black Mirror episode where it's like people's perception of you, like, you know, they can up or down vote you, like depending on how, is interesting.
But
how far away are you going to get there?
Yeah. Are we really that far away from
we
that?
started
That
this
ties
podcast.
into what we were talking about earlier with all the likes on Instagram and the need for validation.
Well, obviously that is but the only thing is obviously that. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean that's taken it to the
looks
next.
like he's about to go. Well, your mum smells.
I'm gonna toxic. Here we go. I can't win this fucking argument. So fuck you both. No. No. What I was gonna say is obviously that's taken it to the next level of like thingy, because obviously that then affected in the episode that affected like where they could go, what they could do. Like you were saying, like it would do in that perspective of you got jaywalking, it would hit your social score, which meant that you might not be able to use a train. Or you might not be able to eat here, or you might not be able to do this, and like it would affect what areas you could live and all. It's just interesting that like you brought it up, and it's like we can see something like that in like a Black Mirror. You know, Black Mirror is this like tinfoil hat series.
Extraordinary for that though. But a lot of it hit very close to home, and I think that was the genius of it.
Well, that's why it's a Black Mirror, isn't it? Like look at yourself in a bad reflection.
I remember the first ever episode. What I loved about Black Mirror is you could essentially watch any episode, any order. It didn't fucking matter.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
The first one I ever watched,
Outer Limits. Oh.
I don't even remember which, whether it was the first ever episode where you have total recall. And you like built into your eyes to like, you know, your eyes are constantly recording and you have a chip that saves all the data, and the guy goes back and realizes his wife's having an affair and stuff, and it's like literally you can't actually get away with anything. It nullifies lying and everything. You're never going to be able to murder someone again. You're never going to be able to, well, you are going to be able to murder them, but you're never going to be able to get away with it because there's always a record of it. Like
someone saw something on a reflection.
Well, your own eyesight, your own vision is being recorded, so unless you can do everything
we sort out.
Which then comes down into fucking Minority Report when it's like your eyes, like they scanned, and you know.
Well,
Well, Minority Report was pre-crime.
Mate, you got me
wasn't it?
panicking now. You got me fucking
Yeah,
panicking about the world.
there was an anime called Psychopaths that was very quite similar to Minority Report, but they had they used an AI to generate. They'd scan somebody and they base on all the factors that they knew about them, so their work history, their personal history, you know, it'd scan your employment records, so it'd see like, are you being written up quite a lot because you're angry and you're losing your temper and this, that, and the other, and it'd come up with a crime coefficient. And like, this isn't what you've done. This is your likelihood of committing a crime at some point in the future. And if it hits over something like 80%, they just kill you. You know, like straight up, because he's like, no, he's going to do something. It's over 80. He's going to do something, and it's going to be severe enough that, you know, we're going to kill him anyway. So we'll just kill him now.
That's the thing, because that was the whole argument in Minority Report, wasn't it? Was that just because you've seen this happen, like you're taking away the ability for. Like for free will, like for the free will of someone to be able to stop themselves at the last minute. Like you're essentially saying that what has happened is a guarantee that it's going to happen, and there's no like. I always found it as a really fascinating concept.
What would you do? I mean, what would the alternative if you were to get the person who's been shown in a pre-crime, and you get him in and you go, look, let me show you what supposedly you're going to do now. Could it go one or two ways where that person goes, oh shit, all right, I need to change my ideology. I need to become a...
No, I now need to know who, like, I pay someone to do it.
In the case of like, it's someone finds out that their spouse cheats on them, and they go, I knew it. I always knew that was... And then almost encourages the crime to get there. So it's... time travel is fascinating to me anyway. Because I suppose I sign on to the...
And it is possible.
Theory.
It's possible. Bending time and space is possible.
It runs on the theoretical effect that every day repeats itself every day.
Yeah, deGrasse Tyson over here,
mate, just get a piece of paper. I've seen a bit when I get a piece of paper, fold it in half, and punch a pencil through it, and that's time travel explained. Okay.
There you go. Done. Anyway, back to toxicity.
There's going to be some fucking toxicity in here in a fucking minute.
Yeah, will be.
Real man.
You're saying your mum smells.
My mum does not smell.
Right. So, I mean, I like I say, I think we looped it all quite well in the end. It went a little
tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Apologies, but a toxic podcast for a toxic world, man.
Do we call it the toxicity conspiracy?
Tinfoil hat toxicity.
The conspiracy of toxicity.
Yeah, toxicity conspiracy or tinfoil hat toxicity.
But yeah,
we'll figure that out after the podcast.
I genuinely
that's for another day.
The moral of the story is just don't be a dickhead to people, man. There's just no need for it.
Like, let people enjoy things. Let people have fandom. Don't shit on people's fandom. Don't shit on people, because if what you need in your life is so pathetically so much that you need to go to a stranger on the internet, yell abuse at them to make you feel better, maybe just rethink your life.
Yeah, it's fine to have a dissenting, fine to have a dissenting opinion from somebody, but like, conduct it in an adult way. And as I said earlier, you'll either learn something new, which will benefit and help you to grow as a person, or you will, or you'll just realise that, you know, they're totally wrong, and it'll just reaffirm your original long-standing belief. There is nothing wrong. Just don't be personal. Don't attack somebody for something that you don't like. Just like, if you really don't like it to that point, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to play it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to listen to it.
Discourse is good, like you have to be...
keep it respectful.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like, be respectful. Understand that your opinion isn't the only opinion, and that people are fully entitled to have their opinions. But you've also, like, at the end, they were all still humans on this floating planet, whether you believe it's round, flat,
we're all here on spaceship Earth,
whatever. To just, you know, like, life is fleeting, time is too short. Like, just fucking can't we all get along?
Yeah. You know, the whole original point of this segment of the podcast was because of me and TJ's differences of opinions on stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll tell you, here you go. We felt that the toxicity between us two would get good viewership. So we're part of the fucking problem.
And it's just not happened, has it? It's just
No,
not happened.
no, it's just a fucking loving with some ginger
Yeah.
bloke.
I know, yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it? But yeah, yeah, the most niche things always seem to be the most toxic. And I think because you hit the nail on the head earlier, I think people have felt ostracized for so long that it almost becomes an affront when people like, oh my God, finally. And it's just like, you're just a simple mindset change, man. It's just like, oh, fantastic. Now I've got people I can guide. You know, and like in terms of so like Warhammer, you know, adding some new factions or some new units so more people buy it. Brilliant, because then there's more people I can fucking stomp in games. You know, like everybody wins. I just stop being so secular, become more welcoming. If somebody doesn't want to join your community, leave them to it. You know, there'll be a million other people that do. Or even if there's just 5 of you, you know, as long as you've got a dedicated community and you're enjoying yourself, cool. Just have fun. Just don't stop being an arsehole, please.
Yeah. That's it. As TJ said, we all on this spaceship Earth. We've got to live here together. We've got to survive each other, and we've got to survive times. And if you listen to our tinfoil hats, then it won't be long before we're all basically robots anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Life's just too short to fucking like to hold so much animosity and hate in your heart. Seriously, like it's ridiculous.
It's not worth like you shouting at some nobody at the world because it made you feel better for a second may have ended that person's life.
The thing is, it doesn't make you feel better though. That's the problem. You're creating a negativity that surrounds yourself that perpetuates
perpetuates.
That's the word. Thank you. Perpetuates.
Come on, Granville.
Perpetuates like even more negativity. Like you say, that vicious circle that you're just go out, touch some fucking grass, say something nice to someone, go and talk to your neighbour, like go and say hello to the local person who works in fucking Tesco's, Asda, wherever you like shop. Find out what they've been doing like recently. Just let it go.
Yeah. It's not hard to just not be a knob.
Yeah.
You know, so someone's different to you. Someone looks different. Someone's a different gender. Someone's a different ethnicity. Someone believes in something different to you. So fucking what? Like we're all going to end up in the same place. You know, we may as well just enjoy the ride together. And while we're at it, we may as well share what we're passionate about, you know, because we'll either bring new people to the fold or we'll scare some people off, but we'll scare those people off into the arms of people that are doing the things that they enjoy together. You know, this just like, let it be. Like the Beatles sang. I'm not going to sing it again because we had a discussion the other day about how badly the Beatles are with copyright.
Don't dismiss something entirely without maybe just having a conversation with someone first. Maybe talk to them. Like I say, like TJ said, be respectful. Just talk to them and just go, oh, I'd like to just get a little bit more understanding. It might not change my mind. It might, like Rich said, it might reinforce my views. But it might also...
There's no loss.
Yeah. No. It might also stop my ignorance a bit, because don't be ignorant, kids. Don't be ignorant of other people's views, thoughts and everything. They're not you. They're not affecting you. Unless they are affecting you, then with all rights, you know, just like, guys, stop. It's affecting my life now. You want to do whatever you're doing, that's fine. You do it over there away from me and don't affect my life. Don't, you know, but there's no need to start shit when there ain't no shit. Don't do fuck shit, there won't be no fuck shit.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I suppose that is about where we'll call it there. It's been a long one, as it always is over here.
When is it not?
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, as always, it's been fantastic talking to you. Guys out there in the listening world, thank you as always. Do remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content here today. It just helps us out, keeping the lights on over here on the podcast.
And throw in a comment as well. Give us your feedback and point of view. Like, don't be toxic. Don't be toxic in the comments, but yeah.
Anything like you want to hear us talk about, you know, chuck a suggestion in. We're amicable.
Yeah, we're always here. We do read the comments. We will reply should we feel it necessary. You'll always get a like off me if I enjoyed your comment. So, guys,
you're gonna like off me even if we didn't enjoy your comment. So.
You sucker.
I just don't like. I don't like anyone, so I ain't liking nothing. I'm joking.
Validation for you right there, guaranteed. You heard it here first.
Right, guys, so that's about the end of the podcast. So I'm going to pimp my wares, and then the other guys are going to pimp their wares. So I'm Firefly Zero or Jay. You can find me over on Twitch most, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Sometimes I do another podcast called Geek Show with Rich.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
As always, I've been joined by Live Convoy.
Yeah, Rich over here. I'm on Instagram, Miniature Painter. Peace out.
And of course, the proper TJ.
Yeah, the proper TJ on all social media platforms, and I stream on Twitch on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you.
Right, guys. So thank you for spending your time with us. I hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll catch you soon. Bye, kids.
See you later.
Let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you.